There's a private one and there's a non-private one. So you see those on the right there, Steve?
Yeah, I see the private chat in the comments.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead and play the music, Dutch.
Play that.
Oh, you got to share first.
Shit.
Yeah, I got to share my screen here. Hey, everybody. We're about to go live in a second. Well, we're not going to Facebook yet, though, right?
No.
When do we do that?
As soon as the music starts.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I didn't know that's what you were doing. Yeah, your communications fucking sucks balls.
Oh, my God.
All right.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah, let me get the music up here.
Hi, people. How y'all doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Chilling, grilling.
What's the business?
All right, gentlemen. And Facebook, go.
This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Hey, listener. This is Venice, and you're listening to Voice from the Underground, proud members of the Tangent Bound Network and the famous original podcast network. Welcome to the Underground. From the Underground, my favorite podcast.
Check out DJ. Check out Big Ass. Check out Dutch.
My favorite podcast.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Voice from the Underground.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Via You Podcast.
Welcome to the Underground.
Voice from the Underground.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Voice from the Underground, the podcast. We are a gnarly spirited, super dope, and off the mind-numbing juxtaposition of politics and pop culture coming straight from the underground and into your earballs. It is I, Jason Dutch, back with Big Hussein, the Dark Knight himself, and Mickey Antifa for another episode of BFU. Gentlemen, how are you today out there in Chi-Town?
Doing well, man. How about you? How's everything with you, bro?
I'm doing, I'm hanging in there. It's, we got fires here in California, and you could barely see the freaking sun. It's like orange.
People still playing golf though. That's what's interesting.
Oh yeah, it's
fire, raging fire is the backdrop, and somebody's teeing off.
You're not gonna see a lot of those privileged fucks stop playing their golf. That's for sure.
Gotta get my 8 in. Gotta get my 9 in.
Speaking of fire, me and the fiance made pot roast.
Whoa. Oh, okay.
Oh my God. I ain't never made a pot roast before, but I'm pretty sure that's all I'm gonna eat for the rest of my life. Like, it was
pot roast is tasty stuff.
Oh my God.
Had pot roast before, man?
I've had pot roast, but I never made it myself. I always mom's always had the hookup, so I never really had a need to make one myself. Man, let me tell you something. The carrots and the potatoes coming up out of that juice, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Very toasty.
It was delicious.
Well, send us some of that over here to Cali-town.
Pictures? Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so we do have fires out here in California. So thoughts and prayers out to those. Seriously though, hope everybody's staying safe, especially in Northern California where that stuff's really bad.
Yeah.
Speaking of California, as you see the fourth window here, we do have a guest with us today. And just for the listener, I am probably going to be cutting out a little bit early tonight. I'm not sure yet. Depends on if the wife cracks the whip or not.
Cue the applause from our
yeah.
You're going to love my nuts.
But let's introduce our guest here. So joining us on Voice from the Underground today, we have independent congressional candidate, Steve Cox. What's up, Steve? Welcome.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Big Steve.
Big Steve, welcome to the show. So let's just get rolling right away into what the fuck it is you have going on. So I know that you are now, from what I understand, you ran for Congress in 2020.
Yeah.
It sounds like that was suspended, but you're putting together something to help independents in the 2022 election. Now, as somebody who is very much in favor of a third party in this country, and as an independent myself, and as a guy who's thought strongly about running for Congress, I'm in McCarthy's district.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be quite probably get my ass handed to me, but I guarantee he wouldn't have fun in the debate. But nonetheless, as a guy who's aspired for that, and I'm not really super gung-ho about doing it as a Democrat. I would because but you know, it is something that's interesting to me is the whole independent platform. So do us a favor, walk us here in the underground, grab your shovel and come on down and tell us about you and your campaign and, you know, what your whole game plan is.
So this is good. Give me a minute, you know, or a couple. So
you have 10 seconds. Go.
It's like Twitter. You always have like 280 characters. It's so hard. It's so hard to say something really substantive.
142 characters or less. Go.
Yeah. So
Line dog face pony soldier.
well, so what happened for me was, I mean, I've always kind of been interested in politics and stuff, even as a teenager and stuff. But I didn't understand it. I think most people don't. And, you know, because what you're told, what the media says, what the parties say, the talking points people give you, if you believe that stuff, you have no idea what's going on. So, you know, as I learned and I started to understand things a lot better, in like 2012 or so, I had a revelation one night. I was
a revelation?
Yeah, I had a little bit of blue dream, and I was watching the news, and I had this. I was like, you know what? What if? So what if the parties actually don't even want to do the things that they say they want to do? Like even them saying they want to do it is not true, right? So because it's always played off as if it's like, oh, we just can't get it done. We'd really like to. We just can't do this stuff, you know. But I'm like, what if they really don't even want to do it? So. You know, it was kind of a scary thought, and I hoped I was wrong, but then I started applying that logic to like everything happening, and like, what would happen if this is the case? If they don't actually want to do the things they say they want to do, this is what'll happen, right? And then that's what happened, and it just kept happening like that, and I'm like, oh shit, you know, that it just meant that like basically the narrative that I saw that was being played out, that most of the public, most of the country believes. Is wrong. It's fraud, and so I've always been I've been an independent since I left the Republican Party in 2002 or 3, and you know I started sliding left because I had a friend that like supported the Sandinistas and stuff like that, and he would always be picking my brain and like planting seeds so stuff would happen, and then I'm like, oh man, he's right. So it was just kind of went like that for a while, and then but yeah, in 2012 I had that revelation, and I was already leaning pretty far left at that point, and then I started to realize that like me as an independent is probably the answer. Somebody who understands what's really happening and is willing to actually fight both the parties. I think that's a big like if we're going to get this country back under our control, if it ever even really was. You know, that's what we need to do.
It's under the control of the deep state. You know it, and I know it.
Well, yeah, the Illuminati, the deep state, the you know, Wall Street, or any you know conglomeration of those three things. But
It's the family.
yeah, and then after Trump won, which I predicted was going to happen too, I didn't want it to happen. But I was like, you know, I didn't like Hillary either, so I was like, you know. This country's going to get what this country's going to get, right? If we deserve somebody like Trump, maybe that's what we should get. And So, I predicted he would win. I thought he would, and then he won. And, I was against a lot of people on that prediction, too. Most people thought that was impossible. And so all these things started stacking up, and seeing the public kind of wanting a Bernie Sanders and also fighting for Trump. This is, these outsider types. Bernie Sanders, longtime independent, trying to do things that the Democratic Party doesn't necessarily want to do, and then Trump being a complete outsider and them doing well, and I just realized I had to go. I had to figure out a way to do it. And then the first time I completely got my butt kicked. I spent like $5,000 and got like 900 votes, like 800 and some votes.
Oh man!
And then I was like, wow, this is really hard. Well, I mean, maybe, but it's like it's just such a learning curve to even understand how to run for office, especially when you're an independent, because you don't have a party behind you, you don't have people who've done this before, who can advise you, and so I just really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to present my case to people very well, and then I ended up, I'm not a loser, put it that way. I was a competitor, an athlete, stuff, raced motocross and for most of my young life, and that's an individual sport where you either win or you lose, and it's rough, and you get beat up, and you hurt yourself, and all kinds of stuff happens, and you just get up and you try again, and so that's kind of the type of person I am, and so I got my butt kicked, and then the second time I'm like, okay, I got to figure something out, and I put a few things together. I ended up getting like 10 times the votes on $500, on like 1/10 the money.
There you go.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So, yeah, and it's just it's figuring out the game, figuring out, where the good things are to invest in and what they aren't, and how to message people, how to get a message across that people can understand, and what people care about. Like, there's just so many little stupid things. Plus, not to mention all the paperwork you have to file with the federal government and all kinds of other stuff that like you need to know how to do this. So my plan is, I now believe that I can win and legitimately win in 2022 because I figured out how to raise money, I think, and I figured out the messaging and stuff, and so I feel like I put those two things together, and I get myself a decent amount of money, and I can beat these people. And in so doing, I'm going to put together a handbook, a PDF for free, to give out to any independents who want to run for this type of office all the way across the country, to help them get to where I had to go through 2 different campaigns to figure out, and help them get a foot forward, and start kicking both these parties out. That's really what I believe needs to happen, is we got to kick both these goddamn parties out of office.
Yeah. I wanted to not like you because I typically don't like independents, but damn it, you won me over that quickly. I'm crossing
of Mickey Antifa, so
I'm crossing state lines, and I'm voting for you. Trump told me it was okay for me to try. Yeah, he told me I could try to mail it in and
vote as many times as you want.
Yeah,
hey, if Trump says it, it's got to be true.
Of course.
Right.
Of course. Unless it's something bad, then it's not true.
Of course, yeah.
Then it was a joke. It was a joke. How could you guys not see that was a joke? He was joking.
Yeah.
Liberals.
Yeah, jokes are usually funny. That's usually the giveaway I go by. I don't know.
Right.
People typically laugh.
So that's more or less what I'm trying to do. And to be very clear, I really don't like Donald Trump at all. But I don't think either party really gives a crap about us, to be perfectly honest. I think one big example is that 88% of Democrats support Medicare for all or single-payer health care, and then it's like 51% of Republicans, even a majority there, and it's like 68% of independents. But stick it just with the Democrats, 88% of them support single-payer health care, and then the party, the DNC, votes 78% against putting it on the party platform for 2024 or 2020. And I'm just like, what? It's called the Democratic Party. You would think that means that they do what their people want, right?
That's what the Democratic Party means. Representatives and representing it all.
No, they don't represent us. They represent, big business.
The lobbyists.
Yeah, the lobbyists. So, stuff like that. Like, I just, there are a lot of people to liberals, sometimes I come across as a conservative, and to conservatives, I come across as a liberal. But
because you're an independent.
But I'm a leftist. Yeah. I'm actually a left-leaning libertarian. If you have to be real specific about it. Yeah. So you know, I care about people's rights, and I went over. Man, you got to see it. I get so many Republicans in my district to agree to Medicare for all and these types of things. It's not even like, all I have to do is basically tell them that I'm on their side on guns, which I am, more or less, and then they come right along on almost everything else.
What about abortion? What are they? That's their.
I think we agree. We usually agree to disagree on that. What I usually have to say is, and I use this as an example to sort of show that I'm not loyal to either party. It's really important as an independent to not present yourself as friendly to either party, I think. But you know, have a Republican bring up the pro-life thing, and I just say, look, I believe that if Democrats could, like, no matter what gun ban they put into place, that's their foot in the door to try and ban guns, just generally. I think that's the right way to go. And I said, and I think that's the same thing with Republicans with abortion. I think that any restriction you put into place, they're going to use it as a foot in the door to try and ban it altogether. So even if people are saying, well, wouldn't you vote for a late-term abortion ban or whatever? And I'm like, morally, ethically, maybe, right? But I would be trying to prevent this influx of influence that way, where the Democrat or the Republicans would take that foot in the door and try and even go even farther, and that's what I don't want to have happen. So, and when I say it like that, and I use the gun thing as an example, even conservatives usually are like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I see it." They just leave me alone about it.
Nice,
right?
That's like the saying goes: "Give somebody a rope, they want to be a cowboy."
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So what do you think are the topics that are the most important to independents?
Well, I think the big first thing, and I have to speak from my own experience, and I don't really know, on the right, like what independents and how they do. The two senators in the Senate that are independents are both on the left. It's King from Maine and Bernie. So the one in the House is Justin Amash, and he switched, like, he was offended by Trump or whatever.
Yeah, he defected.
Yeah, to be an independent. So, but I don't really have any experience or a lot of experience campaigning as an independent, except for from my own, left-wing libertarian sort of position, which, finds a pretty easy sweet spot with a lot of people I've found.
Yeah, the libertarian stance on abortion, because I actually kind of identify very similar to the way that you do as a former Republican.
Yeah.
And I left when the moment Trump was nominated.
Wow.
And
it took you a while, huh?
Yeah, I mean, well, I also voted for Obama in 08.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and I voted for, like, my first time voting, I want to say, I forgot if it was my first or second time voting, I voted for Perot. And then I voted for
Perot.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then
I forgot all about him.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And then I voted for two independents, two libertarian candidates in my life. Gary Johnson most recently, and somebody during Bush. I don't even remember who the candidate was. He was that important to me.
Yeah. You're just like, not those other two, though.
Not those other two.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I feel that.
But the libertarian stance on abortion, I think, is the right stance, especially for any man to take, which is, look, I'm willing to listen to both sides. I think both sides put together very plausibly decent arguments. There's good in there. There's things that are probably true on both sides of the argument. Like the right, yes, I understand that they want to protect life. I do too. But the left also wants to protect, like, a woman's right to, have her health so that she doesn't pass away in childbirth because she has 4 other kids, or, and the libertarians. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I want you to understand something. I've had people actually admit this to me face to face when I'm canvassing as an independent candidate from Congress, because the way it always works is you knock on the door, they say, hi, and you go, hi, I'm Steve Cox, or you wouldn't say that, I hope. but I say,
Hi, I'm Steve Cox.
Hi, I'm Steve Cox.
Yeah. So, I say, hi, I'm Steve Cox. I'm running for Congress here. And they always fold their arms like in, they get all defensive.
Like vacuums.
Yeah. And then they go,
habitually. He's a habitual line stepper.
Yeah. I love that bit from Chappelle's show.
All right. See, you're fitting in good here. So far.
No, dude, Chappelle, yeah, he's top shelf. But like, they fold their arms and then I say, I'm an independent. And as soon as I say that, 99% of the time, I mean, very close to 100% of the time, they immediately drop their arms and they start asking questions.
Well, that's good.
So, and it doesn't matter if they're a Democrat or a Republican or independent third party. The Democrats are like the liberals are a little less likely to do that. Like, I think it happened 20, 25 times that somebody still shut the door in my face, which is out of thousands of houses, but I think every time it was a liberal who was, they didn't want to hear anything about anybody who's not a Democrat.
I think a lot of liberals, when you say independent, you're just like, bullshit.
Yeah.
And that because you don't want to be labeled a Republican.
Yeah, I think that's it. That is how they look at it.
Now you're in
on Republican.
But where I'm going with this is that like I've had more than one guy, and they were both men, three men, admit to me in discussing this thing face to face in discussing abortion. I said, the thing is, I said, you guys, for example, go after abortion, but in fertility clinics, if a couple goes to a fertility clinic, they might fertilize 24 eggs to have one baby. And after a couple of years, those eggs go bad and they get thrown in the trash. Right. Mm-hmm. So if they put in 3 out of 24, that leaves them 21. Right. And I said, and if the first batch takes and they get their kid a couple of years later, 21 quote unquote kids get thrown in the trash. And I don't see anybody protesting fertility clinics. Right. I just don't see it. Right. So the thing
there are some evangelicals who do.
Well, maybe, but
yeah.
I think it bears to the point of what they're really protesting is a woman sinning and getting away with it.
Right.
That's what they have a problem with. It's not. They use the baby for the most part as a crutch or a cudgel to try and force their view. But
fornication.
Yeah, and so number one, that's the worst reason to have a child is to punish as a punishment for your own behavior.
Right.
Like that's
you like held that aspirin between your legs.
You're going to set up society.
Don't be a whore.
Really, really bad way, right?
Yeah.
If parents start having kids they don't want, like that's not a good idea. And and they'll frequently bring up, well, they can always adopt, and I'm like, yeah, but we have thousands and thousands of kids in foster care now that you guys haven't adopted. Like, what are
right.
you only want a fresh one? Is that how that works? Like, is that how Jesus talked about it? Was he like, oh, babies only, or so
still smell like Similac?
So yeah, so the thing is, I really do believe that the push for abortion bans, for the most part, is it's a way to suppress or oppress women and to keep them from having sexual freedom. I think that's the primary motive. And so that being said, I'm not trying to compromise on that anyway. You know what I mean?
And as an atheist, like I am pretty entrenched in the atheist YouTube community, and yeah, with recent events, a lot of people's underlying thoughts on certain segments of the country have been exposed. Yeah. But I have not once seen one atheist say, yeah, I don't know about this whole abortion thing. Like, nope. Now, so there must be some religious underpinning to why.
Also,
of course.
Yo, nice.
So right. Yeah,
flying spaghetti monster forever.
I used to have that sticker on the back of my truck. It got covered up with a vote for Cox sticker.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, see, that's that inside baseball. You don't know nothing about that baby house. But there's definitely something about the religious aspect of the abortion that the evangelicals have kind of poisoned the well with, because even if it's not biblical, even if it doesn't make sense, they still believe it anyway, because that's just the custom of the day.
Yeah,
is to be
ambiguous reading of one verse, which is, I believe, Psalm 139.
Yeah.
And it's where David. Where David is talking about
King David?
Yeah, well, before he is king, David is talking about how God knew him when he knitted him together in the womb. And the the thing that, but David was actually talking about, and I think I've mentioned this before on the show. What he was actually referring to there was that someone had done him, like someone had doubted him or accused him of something, and the Bible doesn't talk about what, but he's mad. Yeah, he had a hater. He had somebody had a player.
Haters gonna hate. Potatoes gonna potate.
Somebody was hating on King D. They said he didn't slay that lion or something like that.
Oh, they lying.
Yeah, they lying. Exactly.
Real man of genius.
Here's to you, habitual lion slayer.
The chosen king hater.
Which, by the way, is a stolen story from Hercules.
Lion stepper.
But he's pissed off about this, right? Somebody done pissed him off, and player hated on him, and he's saying, God, you know me, you know my heart, right? So, but the libertarian standpoint on abortion is great, because kind of where I was going before is they're saying, hey, the left has a good point, the right has a good point. Our stance is we have no stance.
My thing is
essentially,
if you ain't
you're gonna have to vote.
Shut the fuck up. I mean,
that's true. That's a fact. But you still have to vote if you're in the Congress or the Senate and you're a libertarian. I would expect that you're going to vote one way or the other on that issue, right? So I don't think that's the type of thing that you should skirt your responsibilities for or sit on the fence about. I wholeheartedly believe that it's a woman's right to choose what happens within her own body. And, I don't like the idea of late-term abortions. I don't think anybody really does.
Who does?
But it's, that's such a rare occurrence anyway. And, we need to focus on the people who are already here and try to make sure that their lives are the best that we can make them, and worry about the kids when they show up, right? Like when they're born. I think that's the way we need to go about things. Right. And if we really ran a just and fair society, which obviously we're very, very far away from, but if we ever did actually have that, I think that you would reduce abortions by a ton anyway. It would, it would stop happening, because you would have, women would have decent pay and benefits, and they'd be able to afford to have a child without thinking about what this could cost. I mean, it's almost 3/4 from the stats I've seen. There's like 74% of women who get an abortion. They do it because of financial hardship it would cause. So that financial hardship, like if you just had a fair and just society where people earned living wages for jobs they did and had their medical care covered and things like that, I think that probably you could cut down as many as 3 out of 4 abortions would just stop happening. And so I don't see why but it's like the thing that upsets me about this is that they always think that, this whole pro-life thing, that they only care about life insofar as it's in the womb, and then once it's out, they don't give a shit. Like they, preschool, whatever, they don't care. They don't want to fund any of that stuff, right? They don't want to fund food stamps.
Pro-birth instead of pro-life.
Yeah, it should be pro-birth, because the reality is these are the same people that are arguing to try and that everybody shouldn't wear masks. Nobody should wear masks right now, and that if a few old people have to die, then I guess that's what the sacrifice we have to make for our economy and stupid shit like this. And I'm like, no, you're the pro-life people.
Send them to school.
You can't be pro-life and be okay with grandma dying because you refuse to inconvenience yourself with
hey, yes, you can't. Grandma should have had a better job and should have saved more money.
It's asinine. It's
and
the dumbest
they say all
thing.
lives matter too, I bet.
Oh, of course they do, because only those lives, though, by the way, because those all lives matter. People are also typically very much in favor of the death penalty, I mean, come on. So I guess not prisoners, though, right? All lives except those people. And once you start doing that, except those people, it's over. It's over. It doesn't matter what that group is.
I had a conversation with a guy today about Jacob Blake, and he was basically saying that the whole he wasn't innocent line about justifying 7 shots to his back. And I'm like, but all lives matter, right? That right. What about due process? What about, just because somebody has a warrant doesn't mean that they're guilty.
All accurate, but also what about in the Bible? What about in the Bible where, that would be looked down upon to have somebody, or what about in the Constitution, by the way, which, by shooting a man 6 or 7 times in the back and, him dying as a result, which he hasn't died, thankfully, but, you automatically deny him his 6th, 7th, and 8th Amendment rights.
Exactly.
Like, that's already happening. Now, there are times, I think, when that's justifiable, when a guy's going to try and kill you or something like that.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about violating people's constitutional rights, you better have a damn good reason for it. And a guy trying to get into his truck is not, it's not good enough.
Not a valid reason.
No, not even close. Not even close.
So I'm curious, what was it that led you away from the Republican Party initially?
The Patriot Act.
Oh, okay.
When I was in high school, I graduated in '95, so just probably a little bit after you. And when I was in high school, I was one of these, like, I was born to a Republican family, so I didn't know.
Wait,
like,
you're saying I look older than you?
No, because you said you voted for Perot. I wouldn't have been old enough. I wouldn't have been old enough to vote for Perot.
Yeah, my first time voting was, sorry, House, I talked over you. We got to get your mic volume up there. We got my first time voting, it was 1992.
Yeah, so mine was 96. And so
damn, y'all was civically minded.
Well,
Christ.
I mean, I thought I was doing something. I was really dumb, I was very young and I thought it actually mattered.
Chilly child.
Yeah. But so even in high school though, before, I voted for Dole, which I did.
Bob Dole.
Yeah. This pen.
I forgot all about y'all bringing up like old, like I won't say how old I was. I won't say how old I was when that election was taking place.
I liked Dole pineapples.
Yeah.
And an ex-girlfriend called me Dole once.
Oh.
Dolomite?
But it wasn't. It was way after that.
So,
man, I love white people.
So when the even in high school, I believed in I was pro-choice on abortion, and I was and I couldn't understand why they were banning or why the Republicans were the ones that wanted to keep gay people from being able to get married, because my whole thing was I thought I was still dumb, and I thought that the Republicans really believed that they wanted a smaller government that stayed out of your life, that left you alone, right? I know. Well, I mean, me, white guy, they want the government to leave me alone, but not necessarily you, right? It's not you at all, but me.
But the funny thing, that you bring up a really good point here, because I will admit that my parents set it up in my head that if it was Republican, it was good. If it was liberal, it was basically atheist, which made it bad. They would talk about
the religious underpinning.
Yeah.
Right. And, what I began to discover probably around the time you did is that
1845.
In 1845 that
crack-a-lackin'.
that I didn't love all of the things that the Republicans were talking about.
Yeah.
But I still had this inherent built-in distrust of Democrats that had just been there.
I did too for years. For years after I left the party. When I left the party in 2003, I voted for Kerry in 2004, which I didn't really like, but I just didn't want Bush to win again because I felt very betrayed by him as a Republican and all this other, with the Patriot Act, all that other stuff, and then and attacking the wrong country and all this. Yeah. Great. So then I went
wrong
for Kerry in 94 or 2004. Woo. And then 2008, I gave $500 to Barack Obama on the hope that he was really going to fix healthcare and do all the things that he had talked about doing. And, I bought in wholeheartedly to that. And then by 2012, I didn't even vote because I was so upset with Barack Obama.
That's really funny that you say that, because that's your path and mine are really married here, because I voted for Obama, honestly, because I thought he talked good and because he was black, and I was like, we need to have a black person.
Right? Being black had nothing to do with it.
For me,
I'll take it.
Nothing.
I'll take it.
I wholeheartedly admit that I was like, I'm like, it's past time. I remember that Tupac song, where he is although it seems heaven sent, we ain't ready to see a black president. And I was like, hey, this is something that the country needs, and this is the guy to do it.
Oh, it's true.
And I was like one of those guys who was like, I hope his weird, funny Arab name doesn't stand in the way. But, he was elected. And then like, I mean, at his first State of the Union, I was just like, my God, this guy is just amazing. And the way that he's be able to bring people together, which is why it's so funny that people say he was so divisive. But
well, you gotta recognize who that is. He was divisive by virtue of even being in that
That's
office.
right. That's 100% true. It's called the White House, man. It's called the White House.
See,
the White House.
What you guys got to remember about Barack Obama's tenure, he was faced with unprecedented obstruction. So how much did you expect him to get done?
Here's the thing.
People were saying, we're going to say no to everything. Even stuff we supported in the past, we're going to say no to now because this Negro is putting it forth.
But here's where I come from on this, because I got to tell you, man, just straight up, it broke my heart. Like, the guy broke my heart. Like, he was what radicalized me to the left. It was Barack Obama, because I really believed he was going to do the things he said he was going to do. On his campaign website in 2008, he talked about increasing protections for federal whistleblowers, which I think is a very important thing, to have people be able to tell the truth about what our government is doing, because they lie to us all the time, and we need those people. We need whistleblowers. And I was very, very, very supportive of that particular issue, on top of healthcare and on top, getting us out of the wars. He was going to leave, he was going to reclassify or reschedule cannabis. There was all kinds of other things that he had talked about. And, in the end, he ended up jailing more whistleblowers under the Espionage Act than all previous presidents combined. He ended up committing more raids on state legal medical cannabis businesses in his first 4.5 years in office than had happened in the previous 12 years under Bush and the last 4 years of Clinton. Mm-hmm. He expanded the wars from 2 wars to 2 theaters to 7 by the time he was done, and I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, because
those
again,
are things I disagree with as well. I'm like,
because those were his choices. Those are his choices, and the thing that like, I understood and I liked the fact that he, what he meant to the Black community, I think was incredibly important. I think that was the most important part in the end about his presidency, I think. But I think that, he needed to, I think in some ways he might have been hamstrung by being the first Black president. I've thought about that a lot. 100%, like, maybe 100%. if he would have really pushed for some of those things, it would have, been viewed differently or something. I don't know. But, he just
kowtowed a lot to
he hurt me, man. I was all in for that man. And by the end of it, I was really sad, man. I was really bummed out.
You sound like Marcus Graham when old girl left him outside the movie theater.
He's the greatest orator we've ever had in the office, at least since we've been able to record, the speech of people. He is amazing. And for him to act that way just killed me. And then, like with the NBA strike, man, we had these guys who were striking, and I was like, get him. You guys are all going to stop playing over the Jacob
Blake.
Blake. There you go. Over Jacob Blake getting shot. I'm like, this is awesome, man. Use your power. Like, use what you can control. And then Barack Obama goes in there, talks to those guys, and gets them to give up their thing. The only tangible lever that they had, the only leverage that they had, and he had them give it away. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
They still get to use their platform though, because every time a white in their face, they get to say something. But
I know
what you're saying.
It makes me sad, man. I just I feel like we got to get past the point. At some point, we got to get past getting mine and leaving everybody else behind. Like it seems a lot of people talk this game, but we really got to get past it, because this society is not going to last long the way it's going.
It's so selfish. This society is so selfish now, and it's all about me. What's in it for me? And I think that attitudes reflect leadership, and the ultimate what's in it for me guy is in the White House right now, I think.
No, that's true. That's true. And Barack Obama was better about all of that stuff by far.
And I wonder with Barack, what happens when things that you're not privy to before you assume the office are revealed. politically and otherwise.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm very, like, I believe probably to give you an idea where I sit on this stuff. I think if Bernie Sanders would have stayed in that race, and if he would have been really winning at the end of 2016 or 2020 in the primaries, I think they'd have killed him. I think that somebody would have got him. I'm not kidding. I think he would have been off.
He'd have had a stroke.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, the money that it's going to cost the party or the government or however they want to look at it with, you know, getting Wall Street out of the party and not, you know, taking big money and all this stuff, that would have been a major problem. I mean, they killed JFK for less than that. And
and they killed Martin Luther King. Once he started talking about economic empowerment.
Oh no, you got to go, big boy.
Gotta go.
No, you talking too much.
Exactly right.
Your little marches were fine. Your marching was fine. The busing is fine. But you ain't coming after this green bill I got back here in this pocket.
I did not. You know, if you could characterize me also, I'm a bit militant, so I'm closer to Malcolm X's way of thinking than I am MLK's in the first place.
Hey, yo, y'all, Steve Cox for Congress, y'all. If y'all don't hear me, Steve Cox for Congress.
Another.
I just think that if you have rights, you shouldn't have to ask anybody for them. That's what a right is. If you have to ask for it, it ain't a goddamn right, is it?
Right. And another thing about
you take it. You take your rights, and that's what Malcolm X had. He had that attitude.
That's what's happening right now.
No, I know. I love it.
Yeah.
Right. You know, so you know, but what I'm saying is like MLK, like he had joined together. He had gotten away from, you know, I mean, not gotten away from it, but he had stepped farther into the gap of justice. What is justice, right? What is it really? He was doing racial justice first, trying to get, you know, civil rights for Black people, which, you know, right, obviously. But then he started to expand that because it's about human rights. That's
economic
what it's about.
Empowerment.
That's right. So he started talking about the poor in general. He started talking about the war in Vietnam. And when he started talking about Vietnam and he started talking about the poor and you know, taking care of people, nope, sorry, you gotta go, bud. You're out.
Because we gotta have these sectors. We gotta have these stratifications.
And again, by the way, mostly Christians, which I still like.
Christians are some of the biggest racists and power-hungry people you'll ever know. That's the thing.
Are you telling me Jesus isn't really white with blue eyes? Like he's a super white guy from the Middle East?
I'm trying to tell you.
So
it's like they never read Revelation.
Oh, well, Revelations doesn't even belong in the Bible, if you ask me. But the 2 points I want to real quick make. One is it's hilarious to me that people categorize Barack Obama as a communist. You know, it's
he's a super capitalist, actually.
Yeah, and
he was right with Ronald Reagan on almost everything.
It's astonishing that like the dissonance that people will talk about with him. I mean, he was for universal health care, right? And I mean,
so he says.
Yeah, and but the thing is this, I think that like Obamacare was supposed to be a path to it, and there was a public option there, but obviously, guess what? Paul Ryan somehow got that out of it.
Oh, they wanted the shit out of that. They wanted the shit out of that.
They had 58 Democrats in the Senate, along with Bernie Sanders and Joe Lieberman, who was a VP nominee with Gore. Right. So they easily had a super majority. Not only that, they could have done the quote unquote nuclear option if they really wanted to get that thing passed. They gave up on it because the health insurance companies and their lobbyists wrote that bill. So they weren't going to be putting in anything in that bill that was going to hurt them, which is why I don't trust Joe Biden now, because what Joe Biden wants to do is he's talking about this public option thing. And dude, dollars to donuts. I would give you any bet you guys could afford if I could afford it. If they put that in, they're going to structure it so that public option actually costs more than the insurance companies and what they offer. They will structure it in a way to defeat the government option of that whole thing to make sure, and then that would kill single payer, the idea of single payer forever.
Right.
That's what they're going to do if they even introduce it. They'll use it to leverage against single payer.
That sucks.
It's true.
I got to defer to your knowledge on that because you're kind of more on the inside of the political structure than I am.
I agree, but it sucks. I'm not happy. No, I'm saying I'm not happy about it, but like I had this sort of knowledge before I ran for office. It was that whole thing, that revelation. I had that moment, and as you start to understand things and start to understand people's motivations, you know that it's not, you know, this isn't a fair game. They never set it up to be fair in the first place.
Well, don't tell the conservatives. Well, actually, you should tell the conservatives that you had a revelation. They'll put you on Sid Roth.
Oh my God!
You know, and you can talk about how you've seen the end of the days, but the Obamacare started in 2010, though. The supermajority was gone by then, though.
No, it was for the first 2 years. So 2010 was it was still the supermajority. They had 58 Democrats plus the two independents that caucused with the Democrats.
You're right, because there was
60.
The election year would have been 2011
was when they would start the next group.
Right, that 2011 they would have came in like 2 months after, because that was November or something like that.
Yeah, and so then they lost the House at the end of 2010 into 2011. They lost the Democrats lost the House, but they still had the Senate, but not a supermajority. But the point is that they truly didn't want to do it. That's the fact. They don't want to do it. Yeah, well, nobody over there, like even Barack Obama, I don't think, in hindsight, actually wanted to do it. I think that it was just a matter of, you know, what they do. So incrementalism, by definition, that's the thing that people always talk about. They talk about, well, you know, you got to take these little steps. It's incremental, and you got to, you know, that's how you get things done. But the reality is that's how you don't get things done. That's how you don't get them done. It's the breaks. They're saying, oh, you want single payer healthcare? How about if instead we give you this, like, you know, marketplaces? It'll be based off of a Heritage Foundation study in the 90s. And first put into use by a Republican governor in Massachusetts named Mitt Romney. It was called Romney Care at that time. But we'll just give you just enough. We'll give you that much, and then try and sell it like it's this huge reform and it's really helping everybody and all this stuff. And then that's the thing, is they do the really crappy reform and then they try and sell it, sell up on it to make it seem like much better than it really was. But, you know, and they did that like with their gun ban in '94 and a bunch of other stuff. That's how they operate. But they didn't. What they wanted to do was give just enough of a step forward that they could try and convince the public that they're still on their side, so that the public would keep electing them. It wasn't about actually reforming the healthcare.
Not only that, but I think more importantly that they can continue to get those PAC dollars.
Exactly,
because,
right. 100%.
Yeah, because
which is why we got to get this money out of politics.
Yes, sir.
Completely.
Absolutely.
The money's got to be taken out of. That's one thing where I am completely in line with Ocasio-Cortez on, is like no money in politics whatsoever, and Bernie on that. But you know, Paul Ryan, who was the minority leader at the time, along with his little, what were they, the Young Guns with him and McCarthy and the guy whose name started with a C.
I don't know. They just all made me feel very violent when I saw them on TV.
McConnell, he gave up so much to them during that process.
Yeah. And because he wanted to, though. Like, that's the thing. That's what you guys got to get through your head, is he wanted to give it up.
Well, I don't doubt that at all, but I think that the fact is that he actually wanted to work with the Republicans, where now you don't see any of that at all.
Well, how many votes did he get from the Republicans on that bill, by the way? Do you remember?
On Obamacare?
Yeah. Zero. He got none.
He got any. Yeah.
So all this work to bring the Republicans on board because he wanted to make it a bipartisan bill was just about trying to make it look better because it's a bipartisan bill. But it had nothing to do with what was going to be in the bill, because if without any Republican support, they easily could have passed single payer healthcare or anything they wanted to.
Well, there was no Republicans in the Senate that voted for it. I believe there was in the House.
Nobody in either house voted for it. I'm telling you, that's the truth.
All right, my memory is disagreeing with that, but it's not. It's also not important.
I promise you, man. I promise.
I believe there was two Republican House members.
No, there were a couple that voted for it the first time before it went to the Senate, and then when it came back to the House to pass the final version, they voted against it. So when it actually passed,
de facto votes. Okay.
Yeah, when it actually passed, there were 0 Republicans in the House or Senate and voted for it. 0.
Interesting. Well, you learn something new every day, because I used to know the names of the Republicans who were voicing, but the point of the matter is that he was the one who was basically kowtowing to, you know, the same donors that the Republican Party have and everything like that. And that's why I think that Obama's, like, because I voted for Mitt Romney in 2012. You know, I didn't love Romney, but you know, I had voted for Obama in 2008, like same as you. He had disappointed in me.
Yeah.
So I went with 2012. I went with Romney, but then when you saw Trump come into the picture in 2016, by that time, I think Obama's second term was markedly better than his first term, in my personal opinion. I thought there was a lot more progress that was made, especially within the Democratic Party. He did go a little bit more left towards the end when I think the pressure was off of him, because I think that he thought that a black guy, if he was too liberal, would have just been ripped apart.
Well, ironically, that's why Barack Obama picked Joe Biden as his running mate, because he wanted to prove to the country that this, because he literally picked the most conservative Democrat in Congress to be his running mate, so that he could say, "Hey, look I got this honky dude that's like a super conservative and wants to
this honky dude." I love it.
Yeah, he's a honky who wants to jail all the black people around the country.
None of
right?
the black people on Voice from the Underground, the podcast.
But,
I love white people.
I'm not wrong. I don't believe I'm wrong.
You are not wrong about that.
I think that's why he picked Joe Biden, and now all of a sudden we have that guy. That guy's actually the nominee now, and I'm like, what what happened, man?
Well, and hopefully, I never thought I would say this, but hopefully he'll be the president, because it's like, and I just cannot personally go through another 4 years of this silliness that's been going on, and I'm hoping that Trump loses so badly that the Republicans just ditch this completely, because I'll be honest with you, if Rubio had been given the nomination, I probably would have voted for Rubio I would have voted for really anybody over Hillary Clinton, because Hillary Clinton was just so astonishingly bad.
Come on. She's such a sweetheart. She's so nice.
Yeah. Well, she's
honest too. She always tells the truth.
I donated to Biden's campaign, and so now I get these text messages, and yesterday I got one that said, "Hi, it's Hillary Clinton." And I was like,
"No way!
No, yeah.
Why are they fuck out of here?"
Yeah, I'm like, okay, can I decline that card?
No, I'm Hillary Clinton, and now I have your phone number, which tracks your every GPS location.
You will be
all men since that motherfucker had that bitch. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm going to be part of the Clinton body count going forward.
You're suicide with 2 shots to the back of the head, man. That's scary.
Rest in peace, Dutch.
What movie was that where they had the contraption that? And they make it look like you shot yourself in the head? I forget the name of that movie. That was one of the Bourne movies, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. God bless it. What movie was that?
I don't know.
I think you're talking about Never Ending Story.
As you will.
I'm the luck dragon. So what? Just curiously, just to flip the script for a second here. When it comes to movies and sports and stuff like that, what do you have a favorite sports team? Are you into what type of movies and pop culture are you into? Because I'm think people are probably curious to know that side of you as well.
All right, so the first thing to understand about me, if you want to know me as a person, is I have incredibly dark humor. Like my humor,
oh man,
if it doesn't make you feel guilty laughing at it, it's not that funny.
So Herbert the Pervert is your favorite Family Guy character?
Oh my God,
he makes me laugh so much. I cringe laugh so much with Herbert, man.
Oh my God, but way worse than that, by the way. Like I can't post the stuff. I can't post the stuff that I think is funny.
Get with me after this.
You're a Louis C.K. fan, I take
it. Yeah, but a little past Louis, even.
Oh wow.
I mean, I like Louis for his dark stuff, talking about the one where he talks about going to the ice cream parlor with his daughter got a black eye because the doorknob hit her in the eye, and then he goes to the ice cream parlor, 31 flavors, and the person's everybody's looking at him because they think he punched her in the eye and he took her to the ice cream. And what he had a problem with wasn't that they were judging him for that, but he looked at his fist. He's like, "Look at the size of my fist. I would devastate this child's face. She wouldn't just get a black eye." So that's ballpark of the dark humor that I like, but a little darker. And so it's a tough thing for me there, but I really love dark movies, irreverent, dark comedies and stuff like that.
You probably watched The Boys.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh,
really?
That's my
The Boys,
night.
Doom Patrol.
I don't watch Doom Patrol, but
Doom Patrol is dark as
I
shit
like
too.
Archer. You guys watch Archer?
Oh, I love Archer.
So Archer is a top shelf for the first. Yeah, exactly.
They got all new Archer coming out. Did you hear about that?
I hope it's good because the last couple of seasons.
The last couple of seasons were.
It's rough.
Those first few seasons were just cult gold.
But like Archer's pretty dark, and like I like Mike Tyson Mysteries. I think that's pretty funny. That's got some pretty
heard of that.
It's
I hear it's pretty funny.
It's really funny. Yeah, Mike Tyson Mysteries. It's really Mike Tyson. It's like a mystery team, and they go around solving mysteries.
Like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, like Scooby-Doo. And they do like, it's like 11
Really?
or 12 minutes an episode, like 15 minutes with commercials.
Where's that at?
It's on whatever, the Nickelodeon at night for whatever.
Nick at Night?
But like the Adult Swim is what I was thinking.
Adult Swim.
Adult Swim, yeah.
Okay.
So that it's really funny. But like there's
just curiously, Haas, did you catch up on The Boys yet, or are you still lagging behind?
I watched the first episode. I was trying to get the second episode to come in, and
you suck.
Coming.
Come on, man! I'm excited to talk to you about this, and you're over here stagulating.
And we even got another
you know what?
fan of The Boys.
I might have to come over there and watch.
I think I've only made it for like the first 3 this season.
My stream is tripping right now.
Well, it's only on the fourth one, Steve. You're okay.
Oh, okay, all right.
You know, so Haas has still only seen the first one. Come on,
Haas,
man.
What are you doing, man? What do you have, like actual jobs or life to do?
I'm rubbing my wife's feet.
Oh, well, that's important. That is very important.
You couldn't set up the TV behind the feet? Like, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Behind her head? Back here?
No.
Oh my God, baby! Oh my God!
Here's the thing, though. Here's what's fucked up. Like last night, I'm rubbing her feet, and like an oh shit moment happened on the first episode of The Boys, and I pushed into her arch real hard, and she was pissed.
She kicked you?
She was like,
she got that Chun-Li kick out, like
habitual line stepper.
Yeah, because it was okay. We could talk about the first episode though. It was when that beautiful CIA agent, the director, got her head blown off.
Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen episode 1, please skip forward to the next time mark.
If you have not seen episode 1, you're officially worse than Big Haas. So get your shit together.
Yeah.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
On Amazon, they have like the ratings or whatever, and I don't understand it because I actually like that show for the most part. I think it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. But it's got like 2.5 out of 5 stars or something like that. What's that about?
Really?
It's too disturbing for people, man. Some people, I think.
You think that's what it is?
You know what it is? The squeaky wheels get the grease, and those are the people that love the show. They don't say shit. They don't go out there and rate it.
That's true.
They just love it. The people that are upset, the Puritans, they're all over there like, oh, I'm gonna write a letter.
Well,
goddamn Puritans.
Dear Mr. Amazon Prime.
Yeah, they see the anti. There's a lot of Trump in Homelander.
Yes. Oh my God.
So,
there's a lot of fascism in Homelander.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And like
Homelander is a fucking asshole, dude.
He's a beast.
See that. They see that.
He's a beast, but he's an asshole. Go ahead.
They don't like it.
Hey, we're even now, Dutch. I talked over you. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. But my mic's stronger than yours today for some reason. So even though it's
we can't talk about Homelander's kid, huh?
A little bit. I saw him playing baseball.
Yeah, but we can't talk about like the real
what happened.
Homelander's kid. Yeah.
No, not yet. But we'll get to that.
Should we give everybody?
Oh, damn it, Haas!
Yeah.
Why?
All right.
Should we give everybody like a 1 week? Like, okay, spoilers for episode 1 are today. Next week it's episode 2.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah,
like
we'll
give you all a week to catch up.
I'll be caught up.
That's a reasonable expectation.
I'll get enough streams to download to watch the whole thing because I've only seen 15 minutes of the second episode and then it keeps cutting off.
You got to pay your Amazon Prime bill.
He ain't got no.
I cut the cord, so I'm.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
I'm a pirate.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm not a pirate, but I'm a pirate.
You went a step up from cutting the cord.
I cut the cord and
cut the bills too.
Matey. Yeah. But you have to. You don't have Amazon even for the buying stuff from Amazon because
I do. But here's the thing.
Well, then you get it.
I can't talk out of school. We can't talk about the situation.
All right.
Yeah, let's not get Haas in trouble.
It sounds shady here.
I'm in an entanglement with my streamers.
Let Haas be as shady as he wants, man. He earned it.
I mean,
he's rubbing his wife's feet every night, man. My wife.
I rub her feet every night. And
inconceivable.
Now because school is back in and she's teaching all these classes, I got to rub her quads and hamstrings and shit too.
Man, see, like my wife, I'm glad she's not listening right now because she would be so mad that I'm not as good of a husband as Haas is.
Oh man, believe me, I fail in other ways.
She's staring at me, by the way, right now.
Hello.
I'm getting the side eye.
Hey,
good thing she can't hear us.
I rub feet.
I'm the
So
foot,
hey, Haas,
Pulp Fiction.
would you
foot
rub
fucking
my feet?
master.
Would you rub my feet, Haas?
Fuck no.
Yeah, Jules.
I'll do it.
You have to be a blood relative living in this home. I will rub everybody's foot in this house if you're a blood relative.
Would you rub Marcellus Wallace's wife's feet?
If my
I'm
wife
the
told
foot
me I
fucking
could.
master. Yeah.
If she asked me to, if she said, "Baby, go ahead and rub them feet."
Oh, all right. So she'll loan out the hands if
Sometimes
Anybody
if we
can
ask.
get these hands if wifey say
not
okay.
anybody, not anybody.
If wifey say okay.
But not me,
wifey
though.
says okay. If
Not
wifey
me,
says-
not Mikey, not Jason.
I wouldn't be able
No.
to rub any dude's feet. She'd be like,
I wouldn't
"No."
even want you to
Fuck you,
rub my
ask me.
feet.
I would
Don't
make you.
touch-
I would ask you to rub my feet.
Don't
If you
act like
really
that.
went that far and you were like, "Oh, I totally rub your feet," I would get my feet all the way up in your face and wait. It'd be like a game of chicken. I'd just be waiting for you to touch my feet. If you touch my feet, I'd bail.
Pterodactyl toes over there, dude.
For Steve Cox, and he'll come over and give you a foot rub.
You heard it here
You
first.
touch my feet, but I'll play chicken with you.
Hey,
Let me see if he
where-
do this shit.
Where are you at curiously on? I got to know one other thing. Where are you at curiously on Black Mirror fan?
Black Mirror, I love that. It's
Yeah.
like a documentary they released 10 years early.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Scares the shit out of me, man.
Black
Everything-
Mirror and, Altered Carbon.
Yeah, there's that. That was not quite as good. I think the Black Mirror one is really, really like the stuff they touch on from a philosophical level, which is what I really like. I like.
Yeah.
I'm kind of
What's your favorite episode of Black Mirror? Put you on
I
the
don't.
spot.
I've only watched them. No, I've only watched them all once. I can't watch them again. And so there's certain ones that I mean, they all kind of blend together, but
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they do because like the sort of today looking environments, and then like the weird like see-through phones and electric whatever floaty vehicles and whatever. It's a really weird, and they kind of all have that feel to them. But
Oh, y'all don't got that?
There was one where they were like programming taking over like soldiers' brains and making them do stuff or whatever, like remotely.
Oh shit! I think I know what you're talking about.
Y'all ain't got the invisible phone yet?
No.
Oh, y'all tripping.
You
The
should
Apple
get yourself a green case for that. The one that always
Genius.
trips me out is the one with the robot dogs that hunt you down
Oh
when you commit a
no!
crime.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
There was like that started in that old 2-story building,
And those
like,
are
you
real,
cut
by the
stairs.
way. They're
Well,
making those right now.
Yeah, but also the similar dog showed up on was it no it was on Stars or something like that. But it's a remake of an old. It was a miniseries remake of an old movie. What was it? Old sci-fi thing. Man, I'm blanking on this.
What, Twilight Zone?
No.
You fit
Like,
it right. You fit it right in here.
But in that ballpark,
Oh, yeah.
not Twilight Zone, but it was like War of the Worlds. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah,
War of the
okay.
Worlds. That
Okay.
miniseries on War of the Worlds was gnarly, and they had those dogs too. That stuff scares the shit out of me, man. All this automation and AI stuff. That stuff, I'm so scared.
That's
thought
the
you were
beauty
gonna
of Black
talk
Mirror.
about- I thought you were going to say your favorite Black Mirror episode was the what was it,
No.
Fighting Dragons or something like that, where
Oh,
they were
yeah.
video game.
Where with Anthony Mackie, where
Yes, yes, that
where
was
he's
creepy
banging a
as
polar
sh-
bear.
That was creepy as shit.
Is that
Yeah,
the one
Mackey's
where
the
they're
dude.
actually in a video game or whatever?
Yeah, they're in the video game.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that
And
was
one of them
crazy.
becomes a girl, and then they
Yeah.
love each other, and
Get
then
the fuck out of here,
yeah,
man.
that.
No way.
But I'm telling you, they come up with some crazy ass concepts. on
They
Black
have
Mirror.
to be high, right? Like, there's no way they're just coming up with that stuff.
They're dropping
Just,
acid into mushrooms. It's a
Something,
mushroom
man.
acid taco.
The first episode,
And then they
is a
snort
guy-
it.
They're not,
Banging
yeah,
a
but they're
pig.
not. My point is, like, they can't be completely straight, right? They can't just be like so totally sober and thinking of this crazy
no
shit.
way.
No way,
way.
right? I don't think so either.
You know what, man? What if he was in the video game?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That's what
And-
happens. That's
You
exactly
got
what
a
happens.
body, right?
Okay.
And your boy,
Yeah, yeah.
listen to the knowledge, man.
Yeah, I'm
Your
listening, man. I'm
boy,
listening. Yeah.
He be that Asian chick with the big ass titties, man.
Right.
You know?
Right. Right.
No, dude, I'm saying no.
But-
you know what happens? What happens there?
But I really
You
want
know
there to
I'm
be
totally
like
off script right now.
like is there any way we can get like a polar bear in the story?
Yeah, man. Because
mean-
you know they're mad erotic, dude.
No, I was
how do we
playing
one up?
Tekken and that dude is a bear, man. The other
Yeah.
guy's face is a lion, man. So we can
Yeah,
totally
yeah. And if
get
it's a
a
female
bear.
you got all those nipples, dude.
I wonder like how many times she would like if a bear mom gets her nipples pierced, Do they like run out of piercings?
Man,
That's like a lot.
We had a guy fuck a pig. So how do we one up that?
Could you even pierce a polar bear's nipples, considering that they're probably frozen solid?
Right, they'd be way too cold.
They'd be too cold to pierce.
But he wouldn't feel the piercing, dude.
But it wouldn't hurt.
Right, it wouldn't hurt as much as like a grizzly bear. They're not in the snow like that.
Get a nail gun.
This is the kind of thing that just tickles my balls.
A polar bear would never be able to get on a plane because of all those piercings.
Yeah, if you go off with the metal detector, the TSA would never let him through.
And he ate all those metal alien parts too, dude, from the ships that landed in Antarctica, man.
Right. The alien shit, yeah. I heard about that. I saw a documentary on that on YouTube.
That's where I get all my scientific facts. I get them all from YouTube.
I heard all of
YouTube
it.
Tells me everything.
I heard all of it from independent congressional candidate.
You guys should start giving me credit for the dumb things you say. Like
can be pierced.
Future episodes, anytime you say something stupid, just be like, Steve Cox was the one that told me that.
The dumbest line of the podcast usually becomes the title. So
I got to work on it then.
Polar bear nipple piercings.
Because Steve Cox said so. That's the name of the episode.
I drink and I know things.
Exactly. But so let's you know what, we're getting into the show. Actually, I'm beyond my time here, so I haven't heard anything, so I guess I'm here.
I was gonna hang out with Mikey and Haas. I was kind of counting on you leaving.
Yeah, we were gonna talk about white people.
Right now it's a double stuffed Oreo, but when you leave it'll be a regular Oreo.
It's just a regular Oreo. That's classic. That's what people want.
No, if Haas drops out and I
crazy flavors.
But if Haas drops out and I stay, it turns into them sandwich cookies that you get from like Aldi's. Whereas like they got the one chocolate on the one side and the regular plain Jane on the other side.
Oh no, that's the other one. Yeah.
No, you know the ones in the plastic tray that you can't you can't sneak into because
the dollar store cookies.
Like 2 in the morning and you hear this.
Man, they got anti-theft. Them anti-theft ass cookies. I can't sneak one cookie out of that damn package. I don't know what they made that shit out of, but it's loud as fuck.
That's why you got Antifa to go loot the cookie jar.
My wife gets so annoyed with me because I get snacky when I'll smoke and then I'll be watching. I'll be and I'll just get all snacky and she calls me Captain Crinkle Bags.
We just become best friends.
Because I'm just sitting there. I'm like, because when you're high, you don't know, and I'm just all like crack, like whatever, harsh, like this big old cookie. Like,
in the bed.
You know, on the couch, but yes.
Hey, Steve. See, now here's where I'm a better husband than you too, though.
I know. I already said that.
Guess what? Here's what I do when I get snacky at night, but I'll go get some shit and bring it back to bed. But when I get snacky at night and I know she's sleeping, I make sure I get soft snacks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's considerate. That's considerate.
I get soft snacks. I get like popcorn, like popcorn, and I eat them one kernel at a time. And you put it in your mouth and let it soften, and then I chew it.
Oh, wow.
See, look at him. You way better than me.
I'll get ice cream, and I'll use a plastic spoon instead of a real spoon.
Your wife is the luckiest woman on the planet.
Well, hey, you know something? Her number is, you need to call her and tell her.
Well, speaking of your food there, Big Haas, let's get started with everyone's favorite part of the podcast.
Welcome to the Humidor with Big Haas. Find out what Haas is puffin' and drinking today.
You can't see me dancing.
If you try his suggestion and you die, that is natural selection, and the VFU podcast is not responsible for you being weak effing sauce. Now, the one, the only, Big Haas.
I'm not on drugs.
Big Hussein, what are you drinking? What are you smoking in the humidor today?
All right, so I got two specials today. One is a special cigar, and then there's a special drink I'm drinking. I think it's my second week doing this, but Mikey and I collaborated on this one. So I am smoking another number one. It is the Flor de la Antillas number one from 2012. It is a Toro size, so it is a 6 by like 52 ring gauge, so it's not super pause thick. But it's a lovely cigar. You know, it's a Maduro leaf, sun grown, little bit of red in it, you know.
Pause.
And then there's some it's a box press. So if you can see it, if you see how it is the little oblong. If you look at it there. So
it's like a sideways vagina.
Sides here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dutch. I'm sorry.
There we go. Now it's the right position. Yeah.
But you see how it's a little flatter on these sides here, and it's kind of rounded here. So,
by the way, Haas, say hello to. Give a shout out to Callie. Say hello to her. She's our listener.
Callie, how you doing, girl? How you mama now?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Okay, so you got the box press. Student one.
Sir, a question for you, please. I noticed, looking at the tip of the cigar, that you had a certain kind of cut on the cigar. What would you say is the name of that cut?
This is a deep V cut.
Pause.
Okay, it's a deep V.
By the deep state.
The cutter I have is a Colibri, which is pretty high end. Well, it's a mid to upper tier cutter.
That's my favorite font, Colibri.
They make great cutters. And the V cutters are always like this super deep V cut. Like other cutters I've had in the past are not as deep. Pause. A little shallower. And this one it gives a great cut so that you can get into the meat pause of the cigar and get a good draw. But it doesn't superheat the tobacco, and also it doesn't make it burn too fast. So like as you can see here, I still got about 3.5 inches to go there. Pause. Of the stick. And you know, I mean, it's just a great cigar. It's a little sweet. It's got some hints of coffee in it for me. Some molasses. But it's real subtle. It's like a medium full. It's not a full cigar. It's a medium full.
How do you tell the difference? What's a full and what's a medium full? And
when you puff, like a medium full is like it's got a little bit of something to it, a little bit of punch to it. But a full cigar, when you smoke it, you kind of get a little bit more of a like a heady feeling. It's a little more flavor.
You get high off of a full cigar.
It's a little more
nicotine is really,
and it's a little bit more flavorful. It's not really the nicotine. It's the way the leaves are cured and everything.
Okay.
So, you know,
tobacco is just not my thing, but I was curious.
It also depends on the type of leaf as well. So some leaves, like a Connecticut leaf, is a very, very, very mild leaf. But you get a Ligero or Oscuro leaf, things like that. You get into a fuller cigar normally.
I love how much we can geek out about anything. Like, you know, like the states of the leaves and stuff. Like, and we all have these subjects that we know way too much about stuff.
Right.
Like nobody would geek out on a certain thing.
Yeah,
I love it.
I guarantee there's going to be a cigar purist that's going to be like, it's Ligero leaf, it's not Ligero. It's Ligero.
That's just because your Spanish sucks.
You know, but
you need to talk to Cory Booker a little more.
Soy El Negro.
But I actually had this paired today with another gift from the homie.
What up?
It's a 19 Crimes. The other it's called The Uprising.
Show everybody that's a white guy on the cover.
It is the white guy on the
It's
label.
Is that one interactive like the Snoop Dogg one where you have the app where he talks? Yeah.
Is that because he's like an Irishman?
He's Australian.
Australian.
Top of the morning to you.
Hey, and guess what? If you look at the cork,
oh shit,
it tells you the crime.
Whoa, really?
He was sent to Australia from Great Britain.
What him did?
It was probably like he stood too long in one spot, and so they sent him to Australia.
Homeless.
If you missed the last episode, we talked about 19 Crimes Wine Company.
Oh, okay.
And it is about the 19 crimes that you got convicted of in England or Great Britain, and you could either die or go to Australia to help build the country.
Yeah.
And there were 19 separate crimes, and we went through them last week.
What was his?
His was counterfeiting the copper coin.
Oh, well, I guess that's a pretty
good one. That was punishable by death, and he chose to go to Australia. This guy right here, Herman Wexler.
Man,
that's not his name. Something.
Herman Wexler.
Dwyer Kaus.
Oh, that's I got the same name.
It's right here. It's right here on the bottle. It's right there on the bottle. I can't read it.
Oh yeah.
But it's right there on the bottle.
It looks like it's core.
Oh, because it's like written out like on a weird handwriting.
It's in that the script.
Yeah.
Ye oldie English.
Now, ye oldie.
The interesting part about this wine is that it is aged 30 days in rum barrels before it's bottled. So it's a red wine, but it's got a little bit of that rum in it, and it brings out more of the sweetness because rum is sweeter. Brings out more of the sweetness of the cigar, and of course, wine is a little sweet anyway. So I'm getting a lot of the sweetness from the cigar amplified because of the wine.
See there, see there. Jason never sent you no wine, did he?
Mm-mm.
He ain't taking care of the homie.
Man,
I got you,
Jason's
no, I just sent him a microphone.
He can't drink that.
Jason's like that song, that old house song. Touch and go. Take my love and then he go away.
Yeah, that's rough. But you got the wife there relying on you, though.
Yes, but
what do you want? A foot rub? I give you a foot rub.
Hey, on my active training days, when I'm on my
you are fake news.
When I'm on my feet for most of the day, I need that foot rub, Dust. So come through.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, at this exact second, Amanda Cartwright has your friend just subscribed to Voice from the Underground's YouTube page. So hello.
Amanda. Hey, Amanda. How are you? Thank you for the support.
Hey,
I love Amanda. I've known Amanda for over 20 years.
Huh.
And she still talks to you.
And she still
That's
talks.
crazy.
Astonishing.
Yeah, that just means she's.
Oh, look at my African American over here.
Now, I kind of like this this iteration of the 19 Crimes a little bit more than Snoop's Cali Red. I've got them both here. I've got the Cali Red right here too, but I like it a little better. I think it may be the rum essence that's seeped into the wine. But it gives it a little bit more flavor than the Cali Red. The Cali Red is good. Don't get me wrong, but I like this Uprising a little better. So my wife, she might be getting the Cali Red, and I'll keep sipping on this. But to get back to the cigar, it was the #1 rated cigar by Cigar Aficionado in 2012. It got like a 94 or 95 rating or something like that.
But it's been 8 years since then. Is it bad now, or like how's that work? Do they stay good for forever as long as you keep them in the humidor or whatever?
This is the thing about cigars. Cigars and wine age the same. If you keep them in the proper temperature and humidity, they just continue to age well.
Like mature.
I've got cigars that I get a pack of them. Like say I'll get a 5-pack. And because I was so excited about the cigar, as soon as I get the pack in the mail, I'll smoke one. And I'll put the other 4 in the humidor. And they'll be in the humidor for 6 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, and then I'll smoke another one. It'll taste totally different. It'll be a totally different experience than the one I got straight out the pack. Because if you take care of them, the tobacco continues to develop as you're going, as it's aging.
Yeah.
So it continues to develop and mature. And in some cases, it mellows. It's a very strong cigar right out of the pack. But after 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, it's very mellow.
Yeah, that's cool.
On the other end, it seems kind of mild. There's been cigars that I did not like. I smoked a cigar, I hated it. And then I left the other ones in the humidor. I kept passing them up. Then your stash get low.
Yeah, you're like, oh, man.
And then you're like, well, fuck it. I guess I'll smoke this one. And you're like, whoa, this is really good now.
But is it though? What if it's actually like if you're stuck in the desert and you have no food for so long, and then it's that old Chris Rock thing where it's like you give him a saltine, he's like, "Oh, this is the greatest saltine I ever had." Is it Eddie Murphy?
But I understand what you're saying.
Is it Eddie Murphy? You sure?
Yeah, it's Eddie Murphy. That was the Ritz. That's Eddie Murphy. That wasn't a regular saltine.
Oh, no, you're right. It was Eddie Murphy. Yeah, that was from.
I know my black comedian.
I got you.
I know my black comedians.
You're right.
But on the other end, it could be a cigar that's really mild, and then you set it up for a while and you smoke it, and it's a lot stronger.
Yeah.
So that's happened as well, where I've smoked a cigar that was mild, and then I smoked a different one, the same cigar later.
Yeah, okay.
And it was a lot stronger. And but also it depends on your mood. It depends on what you're pairing it with, like the wine. Now, if I had this with whiskey or something with a little bit more bite to it, it would probably bring out the leather and the other essences of the cigar a little bit more. Because
leather? Did you say leather?
There's a little bit of leather essence in the cigar that when you retrohale and breathe in the smoke and stuff, you can kind of smell it.
That's
but
interesting.
if I drink whiskey with it, that comes out more.
Yeah, okay.
And any woodsy notes come out a little bit more with the whiskey.
Do you start talking like Sean Connery after a while? You're like, "This is the greatest cigar." Like, you're like,
no, he starts talking like Sean Hannity.
Sean Hannity.
I start talking like Barry White.
Barry White, that's good too.
Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
No. He had some bass, that man.
It's really good, baby. And, as soon as I'm finished with this humidor, I'm coming upstairs.
Ooh.
Take your socks off. I'm coming upstairs.
Right. Out of 5 leaves, though, I would give this a 4.35 rating.
Okay.
Out of 5.
That's pretty good.
I have to go get. This is the last one I have as well, so I have to find some more, and try to and smoke it with either some hibiki or some Uncle Nearest or something, and see how
Uncle Nero.
Oh man, that Uncle Nearest, man, that's a monster. That's a monster.
Ay, caramba.
He tried to kill me with a shot of the hibiki, acting like it was just some regular old schmegular. He tried to set me on fire in front of his children. I was like, "Oh, okay, this is what we're doing to our friends now, huh?" Okay.
Hibiki did that to you, dude.
I ain't said nothing though. You ain't hear me. I ain't cough.
You know something?
One tear fell down my eye.
Let me get close to the camera on this. I gave Mikey a half a shot of hibiki. It's a Japanese whiskey.
Oh yeah, so it's
good
sake.
shit.
Yeah, he was on. No, it's not sake.
It's
whiskey.
Sake.
It's whiskey.
So it's a whiskey. So it's like a hops or whatever
it's
they do that stuff with. Yeah, all right.
It's a Japanese whiskey.
All right.
I gave him half a shot, and I did not. But now that you say that, now I realize you got quiet than a motherfucker.
I couldn't open my mouth because then all the coughing and crying would come out. So
oh my god! Because I was like, "How is he?" Like, it's good. It's good.
He's like, he's imagining his esophagus melting into his stomach.
I have had acid reflux since I was a child. So my throat, like the line of my esophagus, like I can't shoot whiskey with people because I'll just immediately start coughing and then I might throw up.
And
like
then
I just
end up with a bunch of blood, spitting up blood.
Hibiki is one of the smoothest Japanese whiskeys out there. It's one of the smoothest whiskeys overall out there.
Almost everything.
Those Japanese are gnarly,
smooth.
man.
Yeah,
those guys are gnarly though. Like they will drink. Oh my god, they can drink you under a table like me.
I drink, and I know things.
There's only one way to figure this out. We're gonna send me to Japan.
Yeah.
To go drink with some
Donate
Japanese
to the Patreon.
Yeah.
You can't go drink with them. I need to go.
I'll donate to Mikey's Patreon or whatever.
Thank you.
Hey, well, the tagline in the Washington, the tagline in the Washington Examiner will read: "Antifa has landed in Japan."
In the arms of the angel. It's like the song going, and you can see it all.
Wine is good. This wine is really good. I feel like you see the cup I got. You see
by the way,
wine?
Isn't it ironic that Germany and Japan don't need Antifa anymore, and we do? Like, what happened, man? Like, what? How did?
Well, they took down all the Nazi flags. We're still flying the Confederate flag. So there you go. Put that one.
Oh no, that's just heritage, dude. It's just heritage.
Right, that's right.
Come on,
no hate at all.
There's no hate.
My great-great-grandpappy was a soldier, so that means it was okay.
You guys, Emmett here.
Emmett's here. Shit.
Yeah, Emmett Tucker, conservative trucker. I just want to make sure you guys all know that this is all heritage. The Civil War was fought for independence of states' rights. It had nothing to do with slavery. Yeah, we don't like them. Yeah, we don't like them ninjas. But the problem is not with them. This is about freedom, taxation, representation.
Very good.
You might notice over my left shoulder, I made this out of wood. Like I made this thing. Yeah, but I always show people this when they fly the Confederate flag. I'm like, this one's got a winning record. Like, this is a rebel flag with a winning record. Your rebel flag lost.
We had
losers.
I posted a video on YouTube about a month and a half ago that got a lot of hate from the left. Remember that, guys? It was like, hey, and I'll use a piece of paper. Well, this isn't completely the right color, but I was like, if you guys want to fly a Confederate flag, fly it as high as you want, but make sure you fly the last flag they ever flew on the battlefield.
Yeah, white one.
Yeah, that white flag, baby. And boy, they got pit. Remember, they were like, I'm a tough as nails Confederate. I'll come over there and fuck your dog. But
I can't believe you did that.
You're not Spot's type, so don't even go there, sir.
Hey, Haas, you were going to say something about the Betsy, because I know the Betsy Ross flag was being after the Confederate flag. They started using the Betsy Ross flag.
Kaepernick brought it up.
Yeah, after that,
that's not wrong.
Mm-hmm. But
I was going to ask about that. I was going to ask, do you know the origins of it being co-opted now, and people are trying to fly that instead of their Confederate flag?
No, I hadn't heard about that. The back in the day, like when I was still a conservative, but I was always
back in the day when I was young.
I was more libertarian, but it was just about like I still kind of bought into a lot of the jingoist bullshit and whatever. And at that time, I got the modern American flag and the Betsy Ross flag on my shoulder tattooed, like crossed at the staffs, because I always. And my only thought about that was that to remember, I keep seeing in our rights from the Bill of Rights, which was in existence when the Betsy Ross flag was a thing, although it only applied to people like me, and I get that. But,
hey, it applied to them too 3/5 of the way. So
yeah, 3/5 of the way.
You can't own property and vote or anything
that was only so that the South could control Congress, because by including the black people was 3/5 of the vote.
That's all false. Increased
their population.
Which gave them disproportionate representation in Washington, which is a bullshit deal anyway. Like even on top of all the other bullshit deals, and there's a lot of them. But my thought of that was to remember the rights we were supposed to have, and to and apply them to today. Like, because it seems like we always, and it's been a slow erosion of all of our rights. And and speaking as somebody who used to take advantage of having all those rights, but to me, that's what that meant. I didn't know that they're doing that now, but it kind of makes sense. But, like the Kaepernick thing bothered me a little bit too, just a little bit, like a very small amount on this flag, because his thing was, a slaver's flag, which of course that's accurate, but nobody's mad at Reebok, because Reebok, that the British flag is on every pair of their shoes, every single pair, and they own slaves too. They were part of this. They were part of the market and stuff, but nobody brings up Reebok. That was the only thing that kind of, I was like, come on, I get it. Like,
and I think,
and I'm for reparations, by the way. I'm for ADOS and reparations. I'm in favor.
I'm flying out to vote. I need to do it. Hey, Callie, I need to put me
hey, road trip. I got the subs in the truck. We'll go get some. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna roll. We're gonna sub the whole way.
I do have Emmett Tucker here. I do have a question.
Damn it, Emmett.
If I divorce my wife, are we still cousins?
I'm wondering. Before you married her, stupid.
I'm wondering, But anyway,
your ex-cousin.
I gotta go drop off a load of illegal immigrants. But don't tell nobody, because I want that wall. But you know, I got to make my money.
Your profit margin.
They should have had the illegal immigrants build that wall. That should be done by now for like a third.
Oh,
of the
didn't
price.
Mexico didn't pay for that already?
No, I mean the immigrants here, like the people that we don't want here, should have.
I saw a video of them passing a cocaine brick through the grating of the wall. I'm like, bro, you want to talk about missing the point?
It's gonna be very high.
They're just tossing them over.
No, it went right. It fit perfectly through the.
It's like this wide or whatever.
It's brick of cocaine thick. Like that is the thickness of it. Just enough for a brick of cocaine to go through.
But think about it. You can't keep oppressing black people and brown people in inner cities everywhere if you don't allow the coke to get in here.
Exactly.
You gotta have something.
We can't overcharge them.
You gotta have something that you could throw them in jail for selling, right?
Well,
so
we want just that's what it's not.
It's perfect for the cocaine to fit through that.
It's just wide enough for coke to fit through, but not people. Because we just want the coke. We don't want the people coming through with the coke.
Once again, by the way,
slide it through the window.
It's white, and it goes right through.
White power.
Bars.
They want the weed to. Oh, and let me take a moment and say, hey, Callie, I saw your comment saying you love whiskey. The next time you're in town, you got to come through because I have a whole trove of different whiskeys. You can have a tasting right down here in the basement.
I'll come too.
Come on through.
I'll bring my Pepto-Bismol.
We'll cut a hole in the mask for a straw.
You guys are both in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
So you guys
I'm in Bakersfield, so I'm actually close to you.
Yeah. Bakersfield is 80 or 90 miles, something like that.
Yeah. She'll come over and rub your feet.
I'm on my way.
But you guys ever go to Legends Club, Buddy Guys Club?
I've been to Buddy Guys Legends a couple times.
Man, that's all I do. I just want to go to Chicago, go to Buddy Guys Club.
Oh man, you got to go to House of Blues too.
No, I've been to House of Blues. But
in Chicago?
No, but like that's Dan Aykroyd and another honky who own that place. I want to go to Buddy Guys.
Yeah.
Hello, white people.
I mean, I'm a blues player. Like,
hey, come on, anytime. You could be my racial white slur stand-in, dude. I'll be like, I hate them. I hate them.
And then I'll just blurt it out.
Yeah.
Great boys.
Just give him a little. Hey, do the thing.
Yeah.
I need you to do that.
Just twice.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Before we sign off for the day here, guys.
That was all. It's like I appreciate the real thing, you know. Like
I had a couple questions before we wrap up.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it back to Steve. So I'll let Michelangelo Feminier, Antifa Feminier, ask you his questions. But what I'd like to, you do have you mentioned like a strategy that you're gonna that you're gonna lay out. I'd like you to touch on that a little bit after you answer Mr. Antifa's questions. His question, by the way, is going to be: do you support the Antifa takeover anarchist government that he is going to fund?
I am not Antifa because Antifa shows up for white people causes and they show up for black people causes and they make us all look bad. They don't know how to act. They don't act.
You're not wrong.
They don't act right.
You're not wrong.
Nope.
I was going to ask about that guitar over your left shoulder.
Yeah.
Your resonator there.
Yeah. What
about I'm a music dude. I have 6 sitting right next to me. So
right on.
So tell me
the guitar player.
I am.
Awesome.
And bass.
So that's.
Did we just become best friends?
I liked Mikey from the moment I saw him in his NASA shirt. I'm like, yeah, this guy's my guy. Like I'm down.
Well, last week you didn't have
he's a nerd. He's a nerd like me. I like nerds, man. I get along with nerds.
Yeah, nerd and the geek shall inherit the earth. That's in the Bible, I believe.
Yeah, out over different things. That's
but
just depends on the translation you're looking at.
No, for sure, it is different things. By the way, it is definitely different things. But this one is from a company called Republic Guitars in Texas, and it's basically a very good clone of what's the name of the classic resonator? It doesn't matter, but but those things cost $1 gazillion, the real ones. So it's a reasonable, I think that thing was like $800 or something, but that one's tuned in Open G, nice. So I could play a lot of Robert Townsend and stuff like that. He played a lot of Open G, and then and I got another one that's a tricone version like that with a cutaway on it. which is not out here, but that one is usually tuned in open D because it sounds better that way, I think. And so they're both for slide. I just play slide on those.
Oh, you are definitely coming to hang out with me on a different show. We're gonna have us a good old time.
All right.
We're gonna have us a good old time. And then
you bring the baby on, Mikey will bring the glitter.
The other two things was
the polar bear.
That'll be you, Dutch.
I'll bring the A and
polar bear.
I'll bring the A&D ointment.
Rack-a-lackin'.
You talked about
he's a habitual line stepper.
You talked about doing motocross in your youth.
Yeah.
Yes. I was
like, yeah. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what did you ride, and how long did you do that kind of stuff? Because that's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's a weird sport. I mean, it's a crazy sport. Like when you step outside of the sport after being in it for a long time, and you kind of look back at it, you're like, move. You know, it's not the smartest thing to do if you value your health and whatnot. But I started when I was like 9 or 10 years old, riding. My dad raced in the 70s and stuff, and so he got me a motorcycle. And then, by the time I was in my late teens, I was racing local pro here in Southern California. I never really went farther than that, but like I was always really good on the bike. But my racecraft and the mental side of racing is a really, really big deal. Yeah. And I just didn't have it. I got that where I understood it, and I probably, if I was a teenager and I understood what I understood in my 30s about that end of the sport, I probably would have done really well. But, I just didn't have the head for it at the time. So, but it's a rough sport. And, I've broken over 20, 25, 26, 27 bones, something like that.
Oh, my God.
Now you
knocked myself out 10 times doing it, dislocated almost everything. It's rough, man. It's really rough.
What type of bike did you ride? What make?
I started out on Yamahas when I was riding the 80s back in the in the 88s, in the late 80s, early 90s, and then I switched to Suzuki, and then I was on Hondas for most of the rest of the time. And then when I was about 20 years old, 21 years old, I got a job at Cycle News, which is a motorcycle magazine, covering racing and doing stuff like that with them. And I started doing more testing and stuff. So then, I started riding more modern bikes then. But
this from the chat, which injury was worst?
I broke my femur 7 years ago. I was out at a Milestone Motocross Park, which just shut down here in California, and I was doing a section that nobody else was doing. It was like 7 jumps right out of a corner, and I was jumping 3 in, and then 2 and 2, and then making the inside for the next jump and next turn, and everybody was doing 2 at a time, and then they would go off the last one, and they'd miss the inside of the turn because you're in the air, and so it was a really fast line, and then one lap, because I still am good on a motorcycle, but one lap I don't know what happened because I knocked myself out. I don't really remember it, but I didn't make it. One lap, and I woke up
me when I fell off my bike.
Oh my God!
I still don't remember what happened.
No, and I'm probably good. It's probably good that I got knocked out when I broke my femur, because it probably would have really hurt a lot more that way. But I woke up and my leg was pointed all like south, and I'm like, what in the hell? I had a huge gash in my right side, like in my my lower abdominal, and from the foot peg on the motorcycle, because I somehow got tangled up with the bike as I was hitting the ground. Yep. And so. We got video and photos of it, but like I was in the hospital, the ER, and they're in there, and they've given me some, they put my leg in traction, which already made me feel like $1 million, because like when you break your femur, the bone does this, it like passes itself. Right. And so they have to put it in traction so that it's not doing that. And when they do that, it feels so much better. It just feels so much better. That like, I felt like I was, like I was on drugs. Like I was just like, oh my God, this is so much. So I started joking with the people, and they're like numbing up the cut on my side. They're like sticking stuff in there. And then they took a wire brush and they started like getting all the dirt and nonsense out of the cut. And I couldn't really feel it until there was a spot where I did feel it, and they hit it with a wire brush, and I had my leg up in the traction, and I was all joking around. I'm like, man, while you're in there, can you suck some of that fat out of my gut? Like that'd be cool, whatever. And then right then they hit like this non-numb part of my injury, and I went like, oh, like this, and it tensed up in the bone, and my femur went wham, like right into it. So inside because I tensed all my muscles up. Mm-hmm. And then I screamed as loud as I could to the whole hospital. I was like, help! Like the whole hospital.
Oh my God.
Like, as loud as I possibly
You had
could.
homegirl from Misery in there taking care of you.
Yeah. Right. But like, so that was the latest one. It was the worst one. But frankly, I got to be honest with you. That pales the worst pain I've ever had. And I've had migraines my whole life too. But the worst pain I've ever had was a kidney stone.
Oh,
kidney stone was by far the
really
worst.
Bad. I heard those are really bad.
Yeah, so
as I sip my water, that I'm sure.
I was about to say, I'm about to go give me a glass of water right now. You just scared the stones out of me.
I'm not joking, man. It was so much worse than breaking any bone I've ever broken. I've broken a lot of bones, and so like I kind of poo-poo the injuries now because I mean they are what they are, but people seem all impressed that I've done all this stuff. But dude, by far, a kidney stone hurt so much more. Like
I haven't had that.
Is that too much Mountain Dew?
Gallstones are bad.
Yeah,
too,
probably.
That's what I had, and that was just excruciating.
Yeah, probably would be.
I've never had the kidney stone. I've heard those are worse.
Yeah,
but I can't say from experience.
And we have an 8-month-old baby in the other room sleeping, and so my wife's probably in this other room going, "Oh, yeah, you're so tough."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He passed the 9-pounder or 8-pounder or whatever it was. Yeah.
My wife is my son, my youngest son is 6, and his head's pretty big. And my wife
leave my homie alone, man. She got
the Ring of Fire, I guess.
Oh yeah, my wife had that too.
When he was crowning, I guess she got the Ring of Fire.
Now let me talk you through something. Now this is going to go right back into politics here.
Yeah.
We got the bill. I asked for an itemized bill from our birth of our daughter. There were no complications, by the way. She just had to be induced, and our daughter was born on Christmas Day last year.
Oh, congratulations!
Wow. Which I'm so happy I have to buy half as many presents. And shit.
Oh no, you gotta double up. You gotta double up, dude.
Nah.
No, I'm good. It's her birthday. She doesn't feel that.
You share this day with Jesus.
But
would Jesus want you to have a birthday party right now?
But we got the bill, and it was $46,000.
Jeez. Oh yeah.
And on top of this, speaking of the Ring of Fire thing, there were, and it's by application, by the way, but they charged for the tube of Anusol, right? Per application, over $2,100 each time.
Wow.
Just to put an Anusol on for a hemorrhoid.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
the little cream, the little numbing cream or whatever?
Yeah.
Can you believe that
$2,100?
Over $2,100 each time they gave it to her. And
total, I put that shit on myself. Just put it on my fingers.
So you're talking about like when people talk about like how can we afford Medicare for all? I'm like, how can we not afford it? Like we need to cut this shit off now. Like this is nonsense. It does in the UK that a regular childbirth costs like $4,000. It's like not here it's $46,000.
And they're using the same. They're using the same stuff from the same company.
Shit. Yeah,
same stuff from the same companies.
Of course.
Over there, the companies can't get away with that bullshit.
That's right.
Well, not only that, if you think about like the way, and this is one of the biggest problems with our medical system is like, if you think about it, like technology, your cell phone, right, or even a big screen television, when it releases, like a 75-inch, let's say Samsung TV, when it releases, within 4 or 5 years, this is true of PlayStations, everything, it becomes cheaper to make those parts, right? You can buy that technology for less money after a number of years, usually sometimes between 3 to 7 years on average.
My iPhone.
Right? Exactly. Like, when an iPhone comes out, they can still produce them. Big screen TVs, PlayStation, every single iteration of PlayStation, this has been true of. They release them at $500 something. And this started back with like the first one where they said, hey, we're going to release it at this price. We're not going to make much money, but we know that down the road we will because of the fact that the parts will become less expensive.
Well, and they're selling the software too. That was the other part.
Absolutely. And that the sound cards, everything. But that holds true across not everything, but most technology.
But I'll tell you the difference. That's true.
But medical, it does not. Think about it. Like, why does an MRI machine that has the same basic technology that they had 25 years ago cost 40,000 times more than it did then?
Because when you need an MRI, you don't have a choice.
Gotcha.
Right. And
that's by the short and curlies.
That's where the problem with our medical system is that we allow that to happen for that, raising the price on something that should, like, I go to the fucking dentist, right? They put that 1991 x-ray pad over you. How long have you had that fucking machine and you're charging me 7 times as much more, as much now as you were then?
It's cracking in certain spots.
It should be like $1. You know, you've made your money off of that.
Or I don't know. How about if the government just covered everybody's health care and included their optometry and included their dentistry? Because, by the way, how dumb is that your health insurance doesn't cover this or this?
That's part of my body, though.
That's the stupidest. It's the stupidest bullshit. Like, okay.
I've never talked to a conservative, and I've debated this many times with them, where they have a real argument as to healthcare. It's usually, well, I work hard, so I don't want people to get what I get for working hard for free.
Yeah, but isn't that everybody?
And that's like
that's
terrible.
Liberal. That's really liberals too. Like, you know,
Oh,
and I say
absolutely.
that as a lefty. You know, so like I use liberal as a pejorative, like conservatives do. But but I mean, like, you know, when the
radical leftist.
Yeah. But I mean, it's all about that privilege that they have, right? So what personally affects you? Like one of the things that's bothered me over the years, and the new numbers were even worse, is that like using the new numbers, like we're talking 68,000 Americans die every single year for lack of affordable health insurance in our country. That's 68,000 Americans every year that die that don't have to. It's basically for greed. They're dying so that somebody else can make money. That's why they're dying. 68,000 people, which is unacceptable. But a lot of liberals
cost benefit analysis.
That's right. But also a lot of liberals will sit around and they'll be like, well, you know, I'm a teacher or I'm a this or I'm a that. Therefore, I have my stuff covered. Therefore, it doesn't really bother me that much that this is happening. And then, but when it comes to guns, all of a sudden the same people are like, whoa. And even though it's a much smaller number, which not, you know, there's no acceptable number of people needlessly dying. That's not a thing. Right. But I'm just saying a much smaller number of people who died due to gun violence, whether suicide or homicide. And they all want to ban them. And the reason why is because in their own selfish interest, they know they can still get shot. It has nothing to do, like they know they have good health insurance and everything else, but they also know that they're vulnerable to guns. So they want to get rid of the guns, but it's all about that privilege. It's always about like where their privilege lies, and they don't take it a step further. And that's what Mikey was saying about the Antifa stuff. And, you know, we all show up,
start spray painting BLM all over Starbucks. Like, bro, chill out. Wasn't nobody even doing that.
I know. It's totally true.
Hold on, Becky with the good hair. Put the goddamn spray can down.
White people police my language way more than black people do. Like I get along with all my black friends just fine. I have no issues. We talk shit to each other. It's not a problem. You know,
white liberals are impossible to disagree with.
Yeah, but then if I were to say some of the shit that I say to my black friends in front of a white liberal, holy shit. Like
you and mixed company.
You can't say that, you know, you can't whatever. And I'm just like, you know, this is my friend. You go fuck off.
Right, but you know, that's just like when Italian people talk to each other, like, hey, what's up, you dago, and what's up, you.
Well, yeah, because they're familiar with each other.
Greaseball, you know, stuff like that. But I can't walk over, hey, you freaking dago. You know, you can't do that.
No. And I would never use a racial slur.
But if you've got that relationship with people, then that's different.
But like I've had a friend, for example, we got pulled over going to a Best Buy back in Maryland or maybe Virginia. And we were pulling in because we were at a race, and he's a mechanic, and we were at a race, and we were sharing a car, and it was he had the rental car, and it was a nice car. It was like a Chrysler 300 or something like that, one of those
nice cars.
And we're pulling into the parking lot at this Best Buy because I needed a charger for my phone, and he needed something, and you know, because traveling you always forget some shit, so you have to make a stop on your way in or wherever. And so we pull into this, and right as we're pulling in, we get pulled over by a cop who walks up, and I know Brandon didn't do anything wrong, and so I'm like, what, you know, what? Like, why? And then I start bad-mouthing the cop.
Shut up, Steve.
Yeah, exactly.
We can do that.
He used his right hand. He grabbed my arm, like really, really tight, like around my forearm,
the fuck up,
and then let me go.
Gonna get me fucked up.
And I'm like, okay. All right.
They'll drag him out of the car.
They'll drag him out of the car and whoop his ass.
And so basically, it was just a cop. It was just a cop pulling him over because he's black in a nice car. That's all it was. They ended up letting him go. We went into the Best Buy.
I'm going to give you a warning today, sir.
Yeah,
make sure that you have that license plate light changed annually. This is a fucking rental.
By the way, always travel around with a white person because that's why you're getting away alive today.
Maybe it's not wrong. It's not impossible. But the point is like then we go into Best Buy, and the joke I made to him as we walked into Best Buy was I go, you might want to stay close to me because he was going to split off one way, I was going to split off another way. I'm like, you might want to stay close to me so they don't think you're stealing shit. And we both kind of giggled.
And guess what?
And that's exactly what happened. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
You know what?
Best Buy has the worst loss prevention ever. They have always followed me around. I'm like, B, I make more money than you.
Yeah.
I was working on my car. I need a cable so I can hook up my sound system. And here you go, follow me around.
Well, I noticed them following him around. I noticed them following him around, and I went over to where he was, and I flat out, like, really loud, I'm like, why are you following my friend around? I'm the one who's stealing shit.
Exactly. I did that once in Best Buy. I said, "Why you following me around? My white friend is over there robbing y'all blind."
You're talking about exactly what I was going to say. I did loss prevention for a place called Value City Furniture back in
Value City,
right? And first of all, interesting fun fact about that place, and I know this is true at Walmart and Dominic's as well. Well, Dominic's is closed now, the old grocery store.
Yes,
but the number one thief was little old ladies stealing cosmetics. Now, they were by far the number one thief.
That's why I
there
don't
was
hang
actually
out with old ladies, dude.
No.
Yeah, no, you don't want to go to jail. Yeah. But there was people who would run. Who we figured this out after a while. They would come in. A white person and a black person would come in. The black person would pretend, like, just walk around with a coat on and like pretend to steal stuff, but like
using your racism against you, man. That's awesome.
And the white person who was in the store, who was with them, would be robbing, like, literally this guy who was actually a guy and a girl, and then they brought a black person with them. So the black person was in on it, right? But like the
Bonnie Clyde,
they walked out
with an actual. Listen, they loaded up the cart with full of clothing and walked out the door.
Yeah.
With the cart of clothing, went to their car, and loss prevention was like so
focused,
enamored with the other guy.
Good.
That they completely got away with. Now they got him. The next time they came in, they got him because they remembered the people. But still, it was astonishing to me.
Oh yeah, that's like don't be a Mrs. South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
What they couldn't arrest, they didn't arrest the black guy. They couldn't arrest the black guy. They wanted
to do anything.
Yeah, but
I would. I mean that's fantastic. But I've actually said this on Twitter that like any store that forces you to check out your own stuff, like steal something. Like you should steal something to pay yourself for doing the job for
doing their job.
Because there's somebody who lost a job or isn't.
I forgot to scan it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It sounds like Bill Burr. Bill Burr's like,
oh, dude, Bill Burr. Yeah.
I love Bill Burr.
Oh, me too.
Him tearing apart. Him tearing apart Philly, or what is that? Was that Philly where he just went on like a 12-minute rant and just tore their city apart?
Everything about Philly, man. He's like went off on the Liberty Bell, he went off on the Eagles, he went off on everybody.
Your public transportation, your girls are ugly with buck teeth.
They lost to the Washington football team today, so I mean, like, And
freaking Dwayne Haskins gave the halftime speech. Come on.
Hey, you know what? Funny,
Dwayne Haskins.
Exactly.
Yeah. Funny thing about the NFL. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on this.
Yeah.
Today being opening day.
I'm a Broncos fan.
We're not until tomorrow. Then you'll appreciate this. With not having training camp, you notice that how much healthier players are, and like there was good football play today.
A lot of players went out today with soft tissue injuries, and that's
there was.
Oh yeah, a lot of hamstring.
Well, no, because
that's kind of normal though, isn't it? Like
not normally, because if you have a full preseason And if
no, I know that, but like I think it has to do with the quality of your training staff too, like the people, how well they get you stretched and how well they.
But you know something, if your body's not, if like in training camp, like they went to a lot of walkthroughs and half speed stuff to keep people from being contacted with each other.
Yeah,
right.
So your body's not used to going full speed or game speed, and then you get out to the game.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that happens anyway. Me too. But I think to some extent that's going to happen anyway because it's game day.
You always get
game day is a little bit. It's this much more, right? It's whatever you did.
Well, first game day.
That was where I was going was the preseason. Every year, you almost always have a big name go down in the preseason. Usually rookies, right? Who will go down in the preseason. And this year, you had I think one high-profile player went down in the preseason because they didn't technically have a preseason. They were playing intra-squad games,
right?
Like the Ravens, for example, a white-purple game, the Packers green yellow game, et cetera, et cetera. And they, you know, the funny thing was though is like I was thinking, and a lot of people I think were agreeing with this, that there was going to be pretty sloppy football today because of the absence of training camp. But it wasn't. It was good football. The tackles were solid. There was no, you know, there was a lot of hard hits. Except for the Eagles.
there was a couple of games where the tackling was terrible.
Which games were that? Because I was watching a few and you got it?
No, I missed it.
That's a sore subject.
It's the freaking alcohol.
Bad tackling is a sore subject for me because I played linebacker when I was playing.
Oh,
it was a bad tackle to that fly. You missed the tackle on that fly.
There was a lot of and in certain teams you could tell the offense wasn't in sync. They weren't in sync for full speed.
Who are you referring to?
Tampa Bay, number one.
Oh, well, that was the late game. Yeah, I didn't watch it.
That's because their quarterback's 48 years old or something.
The early games,
147 years old.
The early games were fantastic. Yeah, well, but still better looking than me. That's for God.
Yeah, he takes HGH, bro.
There were some times where he threw some passes where I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
was that him or was that the timing?
Well, let me tell you something.
Good. Wentz didn't look good. Stafford didn't look good. A lot of QBs didn't look good, but the defenses looked really sharp.
But that's par for the course.
When Peyton Manning and Tom Brady were both in the league together, Tom Brady missed a couple seasons, I think, with the Patriots, and the Patriots still went like 11-5 or 12-4.
Yeah, he missed that one season.
And when Peyton Manning missed a season, they went 1-15.
Yeah,
got the number one pick.
I think that's a different. It's a different kind of quarterback. You know, like I think Tom Brady was really good, but Cam Newton is going to destroy people this year.
He was just amazing today.
He was great today.
I've been calling it all year.
Little
with Belichick is not
advice.
Where'd you play at?
Just high school and
high school. Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I can give a little bit of advice to the Chicago Bears, by the way, if you're going to be pumping in crowd noise, you need to pump in somebody yelling, Trubisky, you fucking suck, really loud in the back.
He was very Tebow-esque today.
Oh,
he was very Tebow. He was horrible.
He got away with
3.5 quarters, and then he played well for 7 minutes, and then what's his name? DeAndre Swift dropped that ball from one Georgia Bulldog to another Georgia Bulldog, and he dropped the fucking pass. And the thing is, why did he think he had to turn to get into the end zone? He could have just he could have caught the ball and backed in and been fine. But he tried to turn, and that's when he mishandled the ball.
I like the Bears back in '85, dude. I was all about the Bears.
Yeah.
With the Super Bowl shuffle.
I like the
fridge
too.
The fridge, yeah. Mikey's got it. And the fridge doing his goal line shit, like just mowing down everybody and stuff.
But Ditka was a dick for not getting Walter Payton a touchdown, though.
Yeah,
that's true.
That was some dick. Some dick shit. But now we know, and we knew then. We always knew that.
We always knew about Dick.
Was a little bit racist.
Yep.
You know, I was like, this.
But but he's putting in another black guy, right? Is that really why he passed up Payton? Was for?
Hey, it's just like what they did to Kaepernick. It's just like what they did to Kaepernick. You know.
Yeah. All right.
The one.
I'm not doubting that Mike Ditka is racist at all. I'm just wondering why he put another black guy.
He was just in the news.
Just a little thumb in the eye.
This is a thing that you can, I think, talk about a lot when it comes to like talking about racial issues with white conservatives, and this is a danger that I think that the left has when they're making this conversation, because I don't always think that they're wrong in what they're saying, the left, but the right has a very different idea of what the definition of the term racist is than the left
100%.
does.
Yeah.
You know, the left will say that you're racist into perpetuity if you did blackface, if you dressed as Mr. T for Halloween in 1987, but everything you've done since then has been great.
Right.
You're still racist in perpetuity to a lot of people.
That's not the left, bro. That's
the right. Because guess
liberals.
What? That's what they're doing right now.
Is
they're pulling up video clips of Biden from 77 and 80 and all this other bullshit.
Well, they're doing that because they want to.
And I can pull up a tweet from last week of Trump.
Right, but they're doing that because they want to own the libs, right? That's their whole thing, is they want to own the libs. They want to make the left look stupid. But the right, when they hear
but the libs aren't the liberals are not the left, my man. Liberals are not the left.
You're gonna have to explain.
Elaborate.
Yeah. Liberals, especially neoliberals, are basically right wing. They believe in free market economics on all things that make the market.
You're talking about classical liberalism.
Yeah, that's what liberals are.
Okay. I'm using the term to describe
about progressives.
Right.
Progressives.
But the Democratic Party, every time the Republican Party has shifted to the right, the Democratic Party is like, oh, look at all this room. Look at all this room between me. I can get right over here too. And so, like, if the Republicans,
the Overton window is shifted to the right.
If the Republicans are $1, the Democrats are 99 cents, right? And so
absolutely,
that's what happens. And so the liberals are essentially, most of them are right of Ronald Reagan. Now the left are people like Bernie Sanders, and truly Bernie's not even that far left.
Bernie is not that far left. He's barely.
So I just like to correct. It's a stupid thing to do because I know what you meant, but
Callie 100%.
I just like to correct a little bit.
No, but you know what? I'm glad you did, because what you did is exactly what I'm talking about in a way, because like you're using a term with a certain thought process in your head as to what that term means.
Right. Yeah.
Where like if you say racist to a white Trump supporter, they think guy with a hood dancing around across Mississippi.
You got to be saying the N-word to be racist.
You know, right?
You didn't say any slurs. That's not racist.
No, you
Mark
say
Furman
thug.
works at
you
Fox
say
right
thug,
now.
and it's not racist.
You say urban,
or thug, or preferably together.
Animals,
urban thug,
animal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know, if you guys could all just shut up and dribble, I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
But Drew Brees,
entertain us.
Dance, monkey, dance.
You get all that money, guys. You get all that money. Like,
that's
like,
that.
You gotta deal with it. So you got to deal with a racist cop every once and again.
Just because some of your family gets killed, you know, for no good reason. Like you guys are freaking out. But look, you got a Ferrari. Like that's cool.
Here's what's funny is nepotism and the Good Old Boy Network runs so well in white circles, especially in conservative circles, I think.
Yeah.
But the idea of black people speaking up for other black people and trying to help them out is asinine to them.
Or what about obviously we have white people speaking up for black people too.
Yeah.
What about black people? Like right back to MLK again. What got him killed was a black person speaking up for white people because he was saying everybody, right? So he's actually talking about all the poor people. So there's a lot of white poor people too, and I mean that's really what it's about. Like I'm not the type that wants to have a colorblind society or anything. I love black people. I love.
Oh, you can't have a colorblind society.
I want to celebrate what you guys bring to the table. That's different from what I bring to the table. I love all that. But what we do have to get past the divisive nature of it, because I think there's a lot of people, you know, that the political correctness, if you will, they don't know what is the right thing to say and not to say. And so a lot of times they end up getting, you know, a lot of white people that look like me, not me, because I'm pretty woke, you know, like on the good end of that, not the weird end of that.
Right.
But like there's a lot of white people that they get a little lost in it, and they know that their intentions aren't bad, and they'll say the wrong thing the wrong way, and then they get jumped on, and then everybody starts.
I think that one of the big things
I think we got to work on that, you know,
to offset that. And I'm a big person on giving people. I don't want you to listen to me per se. I read these things, watch this, and educate yourselves.
Absolutely.
Then you can speak from a platform of knowledge, of resources that have been, you know, empirically reviewed.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that. And you could talk about statistics, studies, facts, and figures. And I think that when you talk about that, then those people shut up because they can't deal with that. But as long as you're talking feelings, and well, what I've been through and stuff like that, then they'll come right back. But as soon as you say, hey, here's an MIT study.
Here's the data.
Here's the data.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, if the data really worked, wouldn't they be wearing masks in public and shit like that too? Like, I'm not sure.
No, not at all. And that's what unveils them for what they are.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's a mask off thing, very literally. Yeah,
because they don't
which makes no sense, because wouldn't you think that if stopping the spread of COVID is important to Trump being reelected, that they would do everything they possibly can to stop the spread of COVID?
No.
Well, no, because he's just trying to get past election day. Both parties are actually. They're just trying to get past election day. They're trying not to rock the boat too much. They're hoping we survive on that $1,200 they gave us. I mean, my rent. I don't know about you guys, but my rent's only like $50 a month. So that $1,200 is going to go a really long way for me.
Mine's I'm at 49, so I'm right there.
49. You're doing really well. Yeah, that's good.
Got it for a deal.
But the right does this a lot, though. I mean, like, look at you brought up guns like 20 minutes ago. Their argument on guns. Well, let me walk that back. Their argument on immigration is because a few immigrants kill people.
Yes.
To ban them all.
Throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah, but that's not what it's about.
When it comes to the right, guns, though, then they're like, oh, a few guns kill people, so get more guns.
No, I know, but it's not what it's about. I mean, there's a law in California called the Mulford Act that got passed, I think, in 1967. Yeah. And that law was, and this is supposedly this liberal, whatever. That law was specifically designed to disarm the Black Panthers, because the Black Panthers kept showing up to government buildings openly carrying firearms, and white people were not okay with that. They love having guns, but as long as they're the only ones with the guns, that's really what they want.
Oh yeah, we talked about Martin Luther King before. I mean, look at what they did to Fred Hampton.
Yeah, of course.
Here's the thing about Martin Luther King.
Of course.
What a lot of people don't know.
Old Jake.
He was nonviolent theory and approach to demonstrations and stuff like that. But Martin Luther King had a gun.
Oh, of course he had a gun, man. How do you not have a gun?
When it comes to defending yourself, he was definitely pro-gun.
Yeah, the issue with guns is that I think that the thing that, again, the parties don't actually want to fix anything. You got to understand that. They use these issues like guns and immigration and police killing people with impunity and all these different things. They use them as wedge issues. They don't have they have no interest in actually solving any of those problems.
Strategy.
The issue is think about it like arrows.
That was Newt Gingrich who
arrows
started all that.
Right? Arrows in a quiver. You're an archer. When you're campaigning as a Democrat or a Republican, you're going to pull out your immigration arrow and fire that to try and get people to back you. You're going to pull out your police support arrow. You're going to pull out all these different arrows. But the reality is that they don't want to actually fix any of those problems, because if they fix them, then they lose arrows.
They
actually lose arrows. They need to get everybody to fight each other so that they can keep not delivering for the regular people and keep us divided. And so where I'm going with this is that, like, I've brought it up and I've had people get really mad at me, but like I've brought up, I post a video of a young man in Fresno who got killed by police. And he was a white kid. He's 19 years old. And I post that all the time because it's awful to watch. It's just a really awful thing to watch because they shoot him. He refuses to show his hand because he's having some sort of a mental break, but they ended up popping him 4 times. He falls to the ground. As he's laying on the ground, he reaches up his shirt and he's like feeling for the bullet holes that he now has in his chest, which I think is a logical thing to do. They shot him again. They shot him again for reaching under his shirt. And then they shot him a third time. A guy with a shotgun, the second cop shot him with a shotgun from like 6 feet away and finished him off because he was reaching under his shirt. And the thing is like, I know
collarbone out and use it as a deadly weapon.
And the thing is, I know that black people are definitely abused by police at a much higher rate because they're over policed, because there's the racist feeling of danger around black people that a lot of white people have. And they are definitely a bigger problem for people of color in this country than it is for white people. But most people killed by police are white. Like they still kill more because there's more of us, right? So, but the point is like we're not immune from it. And I try to get people to understand that when I'm talking to conservatives and stuff like that, like, I think that they think that that's not a thing that they have to worry about. But like white people get killed a lot too. And,
but the point,
and if we reduce the number of black people, like the rate of black people and Hispanic people and American Indians getting killed by police, if we reduced it to the same rate as white people, it's still way too many people.
Yeah,
still way too many.
It's the rate per.
A lot of times people.
Go ahead, House.
A lot of times people will say to me in debate, more white people get killed by cops than black people, and I say, and that's the exact reason why you should be standing out there with us fighting, because guess what? If they take our rate down, what do you think is going to happen to your rate? You think they're going to start killing more of you because they're killing less of us?
That's right. That's right. But the thing is, I want to make sure that you understand that I do know the racial disparities. I understand that they exist. I know that they're a major problem. It's just that when you're talking to people, this division thing. So when I usually talk about it, I just talk about police killing people. Yeah, I just talk about police killing people because they do it to anybody. It doesn't. It does matter. It does matter what color you are. But plenty of every type of people end up dead.
It is a bit the fault of the media with this, especially recently. I will acknowledge that, but the difference is, and I see this all the time, especially when it comes to dealing with people, even in my own family, and just their initial thought, right, is that, and they're not even thinking of it as a racist thought. But it's the thought that, the black person, they had to have been up to something. There must be something.
Obviously.
Right? Where with the white person,
look at them, they're black.
Yeah, it's like that's why they move their purse to the other side.
I was at the laundromat today, and me and my girl are sitting in the car, and the homegirl gets into her car next to us, and she's just lock. I can hear her like constantly locking the door like 4 or 5 times. I'm like,
she's got to check and make sure it's still locked.
I'm like, boo boo, my clothes ain't even dry yet. Why would I rob you? I have to be back.
Leave without my clothes.
I'm not gonna.
What are the odds? Your $20 I'm gonna steal from you is gonna replace all my jeans and my shirts.
Don't nobody want your dirty, smoke infested Kia Soul. You better relax.
And plus, you would have robbed her in about 15 minutes.
Right? She's not even on the right time schedule. Like it's not even convenient for me to rob you.
Doesn't it make you want to rob them at that point? Like, don't you?
A little bit. I kind of want to take.
You want to scare them a little bit sometimes.
Just jump up on the hood.
I would totally want to rob them if that was me.
Hey, something. It's like when your girl keeps accusing you of shit, and you be like,
right, yeah.
You
know what? That's it. I'm just gonna do it now.
I don't do the dishes, huh? I don't never do the dishes. You saying I don't never do the?
I'll never do. Okay, guess what?
Guess what? That's true now. From now on, that's absolutely true.
I'm going into the whole the flatware, dropping them all on the floor, rub them all around, put all them bitches in the sink.
Good luck.
Cups.
A little bit
run the sink wide open. It's like
you wash one,
Pour a little bit of red juice in each one of them cups and just let it sit on the counter.
But it's weird because I've had a lot of people tell me, just like they're like, well, you don't have to fear police when they pull up to your car, and I'm like, I'm scared to death when I get pulled over. When I find myself, when I find myself in my truck, I get pulled over. Like I'm like shit. Like I don't have some belief that I'm gonna be fine just because of how I look, man. It scares the shit out of me, man. Those guys, they do anything to anybody, man.
Stop talking like that. Stop talking like what, She?
Yeah.
It's all about perception. It's all about perception of risk.
Right. And I perceive that I'm an asshole, and they're probably going to want to kill me if I open them out.
Police perceive, that because police, guess what? Turns out they're human beings,
right,
and susceptible to bias. Just like any other human being.
They don't lose that bias when they put their badge on.
Right.
Like, come on.
No, I think it's actually. I think the badge adds a bias because, like, if you look at the Freddie Gray, the 6 officers that were charged in the murder of Freddie Gray, like 4 of them were black. Yeah, they're blue before they're black. I think
Yep, because guess what? That gets ingrained in them.
Yeah.
In the academy, and then once they get into their department, it's us.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
I think that's
against
true.
everybody.
So I think there's been studies that showed that like black officers by percentage, you know, of their population or whatever, kill just as many black people as white officers do.
Black police showing out for the white cop, just like
if you've watched 13th on Netflix, which I watched a couple days ago, they actually talk about that. It's like, you know, even Black America has bought into the danger.
In many aspects, that's true. In so many aspects, the conditioning of white supremacy and systemic racism is so complete that even the targets of the oppression have bought into a lot of the tropes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it has to, right? It's part of the. I mean, I was a prejudiced young man when I grew up against black people specifically, and it was because I had raised up. Every movie was about gang warfare and violence, and it was on the news every night.
Romanticized like The Godfather.
No,
like,
of course not. No, or even Scarface, right? Yeah. Scarface was all romanticized, but when it's black guys, it's much more brutal and so, you know, and I grew up in a suburban area where we had a lot of Hispanic people. We didn't have a lot of black people. And you know, we had a few and they were cool and I had no problem with them, but I didn't even know the biases that I had, you know, until they popped up. But like you know, what happened, I was about 20 years old and I was selling cars at a car dealership and I hated that job. It was the worst job ever. But, you know, we would call cars on the street. So we'd see a car and like, you know, say black Jeep or, you know, red Camaro or whatever. And if that car came in, that was your customer and you could try and sell them a car. Well, this car coming in, it was like a Ford Tempo. It was all beat to shit. It was like a total piece of crap. And
not the Tempo.
The Tempo. Black lady gets out with her 3 kids and she looks really haphazard, like she didn't put any effort in at all, and her car's a piece of crap. And I smiled. I swear to God, I was the night. I don't think she could tell that what I was going through in my head, but I was 20 years old, and all I thought was that she didn't have credit, and that she, you know, probably couldn't afford the car, and like all this stuff was just going through my head. But I was nice and smiled on the outside. I was like, yeah, I'll help you, and all this stuff. And then, you know, she wants to drive a Tahoe, and it's like a super expensive. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll drive a Tahoe. I did everything. I didn't stop. I smiled. I was polite. Right. But inside my head, I had all this shit going. And then, you know, she comes in, she wants to fill out a credit app. And I'm just like, man, the whole time, all I'm thinking is she's wasting my time. I should be out there waiting for a customer that can actually buy something and to make myself some money. And this is embarrassing to talk about, but I talk about it all the time because I think it's important.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, we end up going in there, and then turns out she makes like, and this is in maybe 1999 or something, like, you know, 1998. She made like $79,000 or $80,000 a year. Her husband's a lawyer, and he makes like $250K a year. Her credit is spotless. The only reason she drove the Ford Tempo to the dealership in the first place was because her car actually died at her house. So she had to borrow an extra car that her dad had laying around just to get to the dealership to buy a new car. Yeah. Right. And dude, I swear to God, man, it was that moment.
That humbling.
It was that moment that like I was so pissed off at myself. I was so embarrassed about how I thought, and I was so ashamed of myself. I just felt really ashamed of myself. And from that point forward, I started just every time I had these thoughts, I'd start like, nope, you got that, you're out. Like that's
you reprogrammed yourself.
You're a rarity.
But you have to do that because it's like that type of. I mean, it's not real. I don't know if it counted as racism, but it was definitely prejudice because I didn't want to hurt anybody. I didn't, you know, I had nothing like that. It's just
better than her.
No. I just
thought that she was ill-equipped because
I had never met this woman, and I thought I knew everything about her just because of what she looked like. Yeah, I mean that's some bullshit, right? That's some complete bullshit. But that's what I thought. You know, so it was like a bad tooth. You know, you just got to get in there and start rooting that thing out. Like get every.
And people don't want to do that because they're so ingrained in what they believe is normal and right.
The conditioning is,
which is why I tell this story as often as I can, because I want, you know, like Tulsi Gabbard got, you know, she said a lot of really anti-gay stuff in the past, and then her coming back for it was something along the lines of like, she says, you know, well, I now know it's not a good idea for the government to make laws regarding how people, you know, who people can marry and all stuff. And I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with it? You need to just say that it's okay to be gay and that it's, and there's no problem with it, and that we should celebrate people for however they are. It's not a matter of what the government should be responsible for. Like that's such a half-assed
the government
apology for that.
Shouldn't be policing love.
No, they shouldn't. But at the same time, like, why can't we just say that gay people are cool and awesome, and that they should be around if they and however they're born is how they should be allowed to live, right? Like that's what it should be. And so that the reason why I bring this story up is, first off, it was a long time ago, and I think I'm past 99.9% of it. But also, the other end of it is that I think people like me need to hear stuff like this, because they need to know that they can change, and that they can, and that these thoughts are wrong, if they're having similar thoughts, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they need to know that, like, Haas and I have talked about this before, the black guy, people say, well, I've had a black guy over in my house, the black guy in the neighborhood comes to the barbecue, and it's like, I have black friends, that sort of thing. But
was he cooking at the barbecue? Was he the guy on the grill? He was actually.
If it was Haas, maybe. But
the old awkward white people barbecue, and they don't want to eat nothing, just like.
But they expect
the potato salad is bland as shit.
Yeah, the raisins.
Needs a little bit of needs some Lowry's in it. But they'll expect the black person to be comfortable at the white function.
Yep.
But what?
Yeah.
But when's the last time you went to a black function and felt?
No, but here's the truth. Like, I would really love to go to a southern black church where they do, like, and I'm an atheist, but where they do all the hymns and singing and all this stuff. Like, I would love
Holy Ghost. You want to see some Holy Ghost?
I do, but I don't feel like I feel like I would be there like a spectator, and that's not really respectful. But I really want to go and see it and like be a part of it. But I also feel like I would. Yeah, but I would be an outsider, and it.
Well, they'll bring you the offering plate. They'll bring that offering plate.
I throw money in, obviously. But
my wife comes and she experiences that when my grandmother was alive. We would go to church and she'd be there, and I always, in black church they always ask if there are any visitors.
Stand and let us welcome you as one family. Then the white people are swarmed by us blacks.
Stand up, white man.
Do I actually have to stand up?
Yes, be ready to
get your ass up and stand so we can welcome you, white devil.
The plate has passed me 4 times now.
I saw that Audi out front.
Right, credit cards in by the time I get the.
I already had.
You got to get up. You got to say your name. You got to say where your home church is and who you're visiting with, and
that's cool.
And why you love the Lord.
Yeah, and, but I love that stuff. But like, I really want to go. But like, but I don't think that, like, I wish everybody did just get along and that we could just have a barbecue and people would show up and be whatever they want. But there is a weirdness about it that it's hard to explain, because, like, again, I don't think I would necessarily feel comfortable at a black church. But I want to go. But I shouldn't.
If you were there and you're like, and you could be honest and be like, you know what, I really just wanted to experience.
Yeah, you think so?
The experience.
They wouldn't just be all like,
no.
Just go inside.
But something, an overarching thing here is we've talked about racism and stuff, and we've talked about how, the elites use it as the wedge to keep us from fighting. And I say this a lot. It's like, we've got to confront and dissolve this systemic racism and dismantle these biases as much as possible, so that the common people, common people can actually band together, and combat the true enemies. And that's why race was even created here in this country, was to keep the poor people from banding together and rebelling against the rich.
Well, and to make sure that they also is convenient to make sure that the slaves were the black people, because then it'd be easy to spot them if they weren't on
but they're Irish. But the Irish.
Oh no, I'm Irish, dude. But I don't work half. I don't work half as hard
all the time.
No,
Irish slaves too.
Well, they were, but it was indentured servitude because they committed a crime. But their kids weren't slaves, and they weren't sold. Like they weren't sold like livestock. It's not the same thing.
Split up and stuff like it.
No, it's not the same thing.
It's not chattel slavery.
Yeah, show me the schematics for an Irish slave ship. But we have about 2.
They'd usually be the sailors. They'd be the people actually running the ship.
They might have been. So we only got about 2 minutes left on stream here. So Steve, tell the people where they can find you. And thank you. We got to have you back.
I'll come back whenever, man. You guys are fun. I appreciate you guys letting me.
You got to come back after the election.
Oh my
God! After you win.
Well, yeah, I'm not running again until 2022, so I'll come back before the 2022 race starts up. But yeah, my thing, you know, you can find me at Real Steve Cox on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and my website is voteforcox.com. But you know, the bigger thing is the
that's not a porn site, by the way, right?
No,
Real Steve Cox.
Yeah,
no. But vote for Cox.
But the real thing is that the thing that I want people to really figure out, and the reason why I think it's important to do this as an independent is because, you know, the people that are fighting, that are counter protesting against these Antifa people, like in Portland, they're driving the big rigs through and spray and bear spray at people and all this stuff. Yeah. They don't realize that they're on the same goddamn team as the people they're spraying with bear spray. It's the government, the police, you know, in the upper echelons of our government, those people don't give a shit about those people either. Like they don't care about the white people in the MAGA shirts or the MAGA hats, and they don't care about any of the black people either. You know, we need to come together as a class, as classes, and fight back against the oppression that all of us are experiencing, even if we don't realize it.
Salute.
Right. And you know something, Callie made another good point. She was saying that we're calling these people Antifa. And Antifa's more. She said Antifa is an ideology, and those people out there that are taking action under that ideology are actually called something called the Black Bloc.
Yeah, those are the fighting area. I don't like those guys, but you know, my position is honestly,
the Proud Boys of the left or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, no, they just show up and they want to start fights. They have like clubs and trash cans as shields, and it's just kind of dumb. But you know, my belief is, and I will carry, like, until I see evidence to the contrary, I will carry this forever. My belief is if anti-fascist protesters just showed up openly carrying rifles but peaceful, I think
they hunted the guy down and shot him.
I think that, you know, of course, that guy, but he was concealed carrying, number one. But I'm saying, like, the rifle, the gun itself is a deterrent in those situations. That I think we would have a much more peaceful protest and stuff like that if they actually prepared themselves that way. I don't like starting violence or anything like that, but I do think that anybody should be allowed to defend themselves against somebody trying to harm them. And you know, I would like that to happen. I think that's the next step in real peaceful protest. If you really want to be able to peacefully protest, you got to do it with a gun openly seen by everybody. I think that's the way to do it.
Word.
All righty. Well, Steve, thanks for coming on. We got to cut out, but
have me back. It was nice, guys. I really appreciate it.
We will definitely have you back. Haas, you got to make it quick, but take us home.
Let's see. What shall we talk about? You know something? Hey,
you got 10 seconds. No.
Here's the thing. Like I was talking about earlier, and I think this is so important. It's so important that we realize that racism is a tool, and it's been a tool since the inception of this country. It's been woven into the fabric of this country, and those of us who suffer, and I'm talking about everybody, at the hands of the elites, need to understand that this tool is being used to keep us apart. It's being used to break us apart and keep us from coming together to confront the true oppressing, the true people that are oppressing all of us. Because guess what? You know, they use racism to make you feel superior to another group. But we're all in the same boat, and the first, you know, we're rowing the boat and they're steering, and we're fighting against each other rowing.
Yeah.
But when we should be coming together to stage a mutiny, but they're using this. They got you know, people on one side of the boat and people on the other side of the boat fighting against each other.
That's right.
Like, you know, it's a whole plate of cookies. You know, and these guys are taking 9 or 10 cookies, and there's one cookie left, and then they point at the cookie and say, "Hey, he's trying to take your cookie."
That's
and then
right.
we fight over the cookie.
Yeah.
No, let's understand. No, motherfucker, you got 9 cookies.
Mm-hmm.
You got 3 trillion cookies.
Right.
You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? So you know, I talk about race a lot. I'm staunchly a supporter of dismantling systemic racism, not only for the benefit of my children, mostly because I know that it probably won't occur in my lifetime, but I want to leave this world a little bit better than I came into it. But mostly so that people can come to the realization that this is a tool that has been used effectively, and the same playbook has been used and used and used, and they just dust it off every time to keep us apart so that they can keep their cookies.
That's right.
Let's band together and go get some of them cookies.
I want some milk and cookies.
That's right. Him downstairs, though.
Man,
we gotta go down. We gotta come together and go downstairs and confront him.
Haas and Mikey, dude, I would trust you guys way quicker than I trust Donald Trump.
Well, notice how he left me out of that. So thank you.
Well, I mean,
Blue
I
and
don't
white
trust
devil.
white people, man. I don't trust white people.
Colonizer.
Inconceivable.
Well, that makes two of us.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Listeners, thanks for joining into the show.
Thanks, guys.
As we head out here, I just want to say, Ari, we'll get to your comment next week because we're going to have a couple conservatives on. Actually, we're in two conservatives on. Jeff Dornick will be back, the founder of the American Conservative Movement, as well as another conservative that used to have a podcast that I came across on Twitter. Thank you to at 23hyper23, at MP in the Midwest, and there was one other here that I'm missing. So somehow that tweeted off of at Steve on Steve's Twitter page about the podcast. So we do appreciate those as well. Thank you everyone for commenting. Callie, thanks for watching the whole show. We love that. You can subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on Stitcher or Spotify, wherever you look for Voice from the Underground, the podcast. And we will see you motherfuckers next week on Voice from the Underground. Take care.